Go Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution. The Charlie Kirk saga continues, and Trump don't give a damn about him. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Salute. Let's get right into the content.
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been
the right wing right now.
Charlie said there was no such thing as hate speech. And he said that because he was spewing it. And as they call you a nigga, salute, family. They say there's no such thing as hate speech. There's a freedom of speech to call you nigga and coon and jigaboo and a porch monkey. Take your black ass back to Africa. That's a freedom of speech. That's not hate speech. Now that Charlie's dead, Trump saying that's hate speech to say anything about Charlie.
Is going gangbusters, trying to convince America that Donald Trump gives a single shit about the life, the legacy, the death of Charlie Kirk. In fact, Jimmy Kimmel, the thing that he said that was so offensive to MAGA world had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk's death. It had to do with how Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about his death. Hey, how are you doing? My condolences to the loss of your friend. How are you holding up? Yeah, I think pretty well. Did you see the trucks? I got the construction thing going on. We're doing the ballroom. Fantastic.
That's a sign of guilt, too, as I really studied what he did when they asked him, how you holding up about Charlie Kirk? Everything all right? Oh, have you seen about deflecting? Why everyone talk about Charlie? Tariffs on Russia. We're going to put tariffs on Europe. No, we want to talk about Charlie. I'm going back into Afghanistan. I need to sit down with Zelensky. No, we want to talk about Charlie. Who?
Fantastic ballroom. Lots of gold. It's going to be great. I love ballrooms, he says. That's why. And look, if it wasn't clear from that and every other response you've seen him give, this clip should just lay bare that Donald Trump does not, never did, does not now, and never will care about the death of his dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Yesterday, an interview was posted on Fox News between Donald Trump and Martha McCallum. When did soft folk, and it's not even soft folk, when did blurry camera work become cool? What is going on? I have a monitor here that shows me to make sure that I'm in focus at all times, because that's how cameras work. Not with Fox News, apparently. Not with their female anchors, and not with Donald Trump, who's so desperately insecure that he needs to also be the Carrie Lake treatment in his clips. But in this clip, that was a digression. In this clip, Donald Trump just lets you know, I don't give a shit about Charlie Kirk, because Martha McCallum is asking the question. She's saying, listen, Charlie Kirk said there was no such thing as hate speech. He was a free speech warrior. Oh, that's not true. He did say that, but he also lived a different way by targeting professors and having them harassed and stalked and threatened by his Turning Point USA idiots. So that's not true. But Donald Trump's response is, yeah, he's probably not saying that now. What? He might not be saying that now. Do you think? I can agree. I can agree. Watch this. I'll play just the offending moment, and then later we'll play the full clip so you can hear his insane, batshit crazy, rambling, demented answer. First, though, Charlie Kirk's not saying that now.
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been.
Imagine this. Imagine this. If Jimmy Kimmel, instead of saying that they're trying to score political points using the death of Charlie Kirk as a weapon, that's paraphrasing what he said. But instead of saying that, the thing he actually said, what if he had said, Charlie Kirk might not be saying that now? The right wing would be losing their minds. They would be apoplectic over the fact that the legacy of Charlie Kirk, the life of Charlie Kirk was being made light of, that his death was being mocked. But when the dear leader says it, dismisses it, it's A-okay. So let's do what we do here on this program. I want you to focus on what the question was from Martha MacCallum, and then what Donald Trump's absolutely inexplicable answer was, the full width and breadth of it. So she asks, keep it in mind. So do you have concerns that, some people look at this and your critics will say, well, this crackdown is a crackdown on free speech? Do you have any concerns that people are going to think this is a crackdown on free speech? That's the question. And what will follow will confuse you.
No one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been in favor of free speech. Yeah, so do you have concerns about, some people look at this and your critics will say, well, this crackdown is a crackdown on free speech?
It's interesting. I watch your show and I watch others, and I see people saying things. They're crazy. These people are crazed lunatics, even the way they'll answer. It's like you'll see them, and the things they say are really bad. But they look crazy. They're almost crazed. Maybe they're drugged out. Maybe there's some other problem. But the kind of things you hear, you probably don't put most of them on. But the kind of things you hear are so unbelievable. You wouldn't think, you're a very regular person. I am too. I'm a regular person. Who would make the statements that they make?
Make that make sense. What did our human apostrophe of a president? What is this? Is this vital masculine posture? This is their guy. This is their dear leader, the unassailable macho man, Donald Trump, who can't even sit straight. Fantastic. But did you hear that answer? Do you have concerns that this crackdown will be looked at as a crackdown on free speech? Yeah, it's interesting. I watch your show. I watch others. I see other people saying things. They're crazy. These people are crazed lunatics. Even the way they'll answer, it's like you'll see them. And the things they are really bad, but they look crazy. They're almost crazed. Maybe they're drugged out. Maybe there's some other problem, but the kind of things you hear, it's actually, you probably don't put most of them on. The kind of things you hear are so unbelievable. You wouldn't think, you're a very regular person. I am too. I'm a very regular person who would make the statements they make. What in the is he talking about? We're in danger, and not just from the violations of the United States Constitution, the assault on our individual personal liberties, not even just that. The fact that we have a lunatic, speaking of lunatics, as president of the United States. We have someone whose brain is malfunctioning. It's like he's having a series of mini strokes, major strokes, in the semblance of in the time frame of just this answer. And they're celebrating. This is leadership. This makes total sense. Of course, he answered the question. He did not answer the question. And I'm sure, and by the way, that was after charitable editing on the part of Fox News. Imagine what was left on the cutting room floor, what kind of drivel and nonsense and confusing dementia that was foisted upon Martha MacCallum. Unbelievable. I wish it were unbelievable. I wish. Unfortunately, this is the reality that we have to contend with. The usurpation of our constitutional rights as citizens, and not only if you're a liberal, only if you're a Democrat, only if you have leftist attitudes about how to run the country, only then. If you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you're free to spew vile hate speech use invectives and racial slurs. It's encouraged even. It's a badge of honor for you. But if you make jokes about the dear leader, his fatness, his stupidness, his lack of health acuity even, then you're at risk. They're coming for us next. Eventually, it's going to get down to those who don't have a YouTube channel. But if you made comments about Donald Trump on Facebook, or if you're still on the Nazi Twitter, or if you're over on Blue Sky, they're coming for you too. I mean, even Jimmy Kimmel, not Jimmy Fallon, who hosted Donald Trump and tousled his hair. Even Jimmy Fallon, who appears to be some kind of an ass-kissing quisling for Donald Trump. Even he is still being targeted. You can't save yourself. ABC paid out $15 million. They're still being targeted by Donald Trump. Come on. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. We can have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it, be that on Facebook or on YouTube. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I got one ask. Make sure you're subscribed. It is free to subscribe. It's free to go over on Facebook if you're on Facebook and like and follow the Dollemore Daily page over there. I would appreciate it very much. There's links to
Let me start this video with full disclosure. I make my living off of social media content. That's how I earn. That is almost 100% of my family's income is social media content. I create content, you consume it. The platforms that they're on may or may not pay me, and I earn a living when you guys view that content, specifically if you view the content on YouTube. It's free to you, and I make a living, and it allows me to continue to do this content. Some people make a living doing social media content and hosting podcasts and things like that because they can sell you a narrative. I'm able to make a living, I believe, by telling you the truth. Here's what the reality of the situation is. Here's the truth. Here's my position on the truth. Whether I agree with what's happening or disagree with what's happening. And some people out there aren't interested in earning a living that way. They're interested in earning a living by keeping you in a state of belief that the person who's selling you on it doesn't believe themselves, right? I'm going to show you a video from Good Trouble talking about Charlie Kirk, and then I'm going to come back and talk about it at the end.
Okay, everybody, I'm here in South Korea. By the way, I'm here in a park at night. That's the most dangerous thing that I just saw, which was a black cat. No bums, no people trying to attack you. It's amazing. Crime is a choice. And here in South Korea, they decide not to put up with crime. We should do the same. Anyway.
Wrong about a couple things right off the bat here, Charlie. There is at least one bum in that park. For you of all people to go to a country with universal health care and strict gun control laws and look around and see how nice their society is and say, look at what we could be doing, is the funniest fucking thing that you've ever done.
Truly believe that this is a human being. This,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt,
Yes.
this is a dolphin fetus.
Second dumbest. No, this is the dumbest.
We're in Seoul, South Korea. As you can see, everyone, they have these like inflatable cushy chairs. Everyone is reading. This would last about 35 seconds in most American cities.
Dude is just out here walking around South Korea and go, look at all these public works. This is really nice. I hate this. This is called socialism in America. But here it's really nice. Oh, they just choose to have this? A houseplant could fucking understand this, Charlie.
Good Trouble is obviously 100% correct. What Good Trouble's doing there is he's pointing out the fact that people like Charlie Kirk, specifically Charlie Kirk, fight against things that they consider to be socialism, fight against things that they consider to be woke and progressive, and then go and cheer those things on in other countries. And I want to add on to what Good Trouble's saying, because people like Charlie, the Charlie Kirks of the world, let's say, are currently engaged in this all-out battle with the city of Chicago, and they want to send troops in and they want to occupy it. It's the murder capital of the world and whatnot, what have you. But Charlie Kirk goes to Chicago frequently. He recently posted on his social medias him at Wrigley Field enjoying a ball game. They sell you on one thing, right? Socialism, bad. And then go to South Korea and go, look at all this great socialism. And then they turn around and tell you, Chicago, evil. Look, you can't even get off the plane without taking 6 shots to the fucking chest. And then they post pictures of themselves in the city of Chicago enjoying life, taking in a game. Definitely going to go out to eat later on, celebrate, dig the city. Charlie Kirk recently posted social media content of himself in the city of Chicago while openly supporting a man who says the city of Chicago is a fucking war zone and needs to be taken over by the military. Because Charlie Kirk doesn't believe what he's telling you. He's telling you that so he can get you to click, 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 click. He's tapping into whatever biases and fears and preconceived notions that you have, racism, sexism, xenophobia, whatever, transphobia, homophobia, whatever it is that you possess, he's tapping into, or that you have in your mind. He's tapping into that in order to get you to click on his content so he can get paid and support him and his family that way. And listen, once again, I have no problem with people getting paid to make content. That's how I earn a living. But goddamn, dude, don't you want to be known as somebody who actually believes the content that they put out?
We have fought to be hateful for far too long to lose it to some nonsense argument made by Pam Bondi. That is just unacceptable. And by the way, we're at a point in our country where I have to golf clap for Megyn Kelly for even acknowledging the Constitution like I would my kindergartner on her first day of soccer practice. Like, wow, look at you. Huh. Constitution is a real thing to be honored. Oh. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make society worse.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
Hey, y'all, quiet down. Shh, quiet down. Hey, Pam Bondi, say that thing that you said. Hey, no, the thing about hate speech. Yeah, no, just because I want them to hear it. Go ahead.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Across the aisle? Yeah. That is rich. First of all, it's good to see Katie Miller landed on her feet. You know what I mean? That is really solid. One of the things I've always thought about, because I used to love to watch the show Cheaters, they never had any updates. You know, I always wanted to see, like, you know, whatever happened with couples and stuff like that.
This woman came here and said she didn't use the restroom. Well, what the hell she doing naked?
All right. Both sides of the aisle. Wow. Because that is going to get a little bit awkward when you look for things critical of Charlie Kirk, because a lot of that's going to come from the right wing. Yeah, a lot of that's going to come from the right. Y'all, I know y'all will ignore it. I absolutely, I know y'all will ignore it. You know, kind of like y'all did Brian Kilmeade.
They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection.
Yep.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Notice how the gifted Washington Post journalist and MSNBC commentator were both fired, but the Fox anchor who literally called for euthanizing homeless people on live television is still employed by Fox News.
But wait, there's more.
A dozen people hurt in 2 mass shootings just a mile apart. And today, video from our chopper shows garbage trucks clearing out the site of one of those mass shootings, an encampment in Minneapolis.
Well, that would kind of be like, you know, having to leave Congress because of allegations or some incriminating photos, but then being able to be elected president with decades of allegations and incriminating photos. It would be kind of like that. You know, it would be kind of like that. Here's the wild thing about free speech, and I made this point a number of times here before. That is a very well-worn argument for not only free speech, but what we would call hate speech, falling under free speech, to give people on your side of the aisle the right to be racist. They have staked that claim out for years. So you hit them in a very sensitive spot.
Speaking of prosecutors who say or do dumb things and get themselves in trouble, we got to discuss Pam Bondi. All the guys are shaking their heads no right now for the listening audience, because none of us can believe this actually happened, but it did happen, and therefore we must discuss it. Pam Bondi said one of the dumbest things you can say as an attorney general. Do we have it here? I'm looking on my SOT list. Yeah, here it is.
Just said several very dumb things. Yeah.
Several.
Oh, that's right. They've come for Pam Bondi before, haven't they? Yeah, what was it? Pam Bondi and Scam Bondi? Isn't that what Laura Loomer said? Is that hate speech? Would that be hate speech? Oh, no, we're talking about something else.
Are you going to crack down on hate speech? What the fuck? That is not a question that a conservative would ask. I don't understand what's happening there. And then for Pam Bondi to not say, whoa, sister, we on the right do not crack down on hate speech. We don't believe in that nonsense. There's this pesky document called the Constitution that doesn't allow it, but we don't even agree with it in principle.
Oh.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that. Immediately that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that.
Oh, if you want to print for a vigil, does it have to be if you bake the cake?
A same-sex wedding cake, because the owners will investigation to determine if it had violated.
Then would that have to be, because, woo boy, this is going to get uncomfortable. I say we try that out, huh? Tell them what Pam Bondi said. You got to do it. Hey, Pam Bondi said you got to do it. By the way, Pam, Tucker Carlson would like a word.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. This is the Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States, telling you that there is this other category called hate speech. And of course, the implication is that's a crime. There's almost no sentence that Charlie Kirk, and I'm not running the risk of appropriating his memory for my own ends by saying this. It's provable. There's no sentence that Charlie Kirk would have objected to more than that. And you've got to think the Attorney General didn't think it through and was not attempting to desecrate the memory of the person she was purporting to celebrate, that she just threw that out there, that she hadn't thought about it. You hope that. You hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever. And there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views. And by the way, that thinking, and not to pile on the Attorney General, who's a very nice person, but that thinking that she just articulated on is exactly what got us to a place where some huge and horrifying percentage of young people think it's okay to shoot people you disagree with, to kill Nazis, saying things they don't like. How did we hear?
Now, Tucker. Now, I'm with the dragon. I'm with the dragon. I'm with the dragon. I'm not going to get in the way of the dragon. I will come back around, like you press pause on the game. I'll come back around to the dragon. Why are we pretending Pam Bondi is out here moving on her own? Like, why is that happening? Why? Her organization, she does whatever. We know she does whatever Trump. Why? What is this game that's being played? I don't.
Jimmy Kimmel was after the FCC, everyone WTF. And again, we're constraining those actions of Disney, of Comcast. I think they're much better off. But yeah, I don't think this is the last shoe to drop. Mass shift that's taking the ecosystem. I think the consequences are going to continue to flow.
When you have a network and you have emails and all you do is hit
all they do. If you go back, they haven't in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and you take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that.
That comment there at the end is what stood out to me. He said they're not allowed to do that, talking about them criticizing Trump and basically saying that is the number one offense in his mind, Phil. Now, keep in mind, this is a Republican president who came into office and he has signed many executive orders since taking office. But on his first day in office, he signed an executive order about restoring free speech and banning government censorship.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
He has since touted that executive order, but today we saw him praising Brendan Carr, who, as you just noted there, is basically saying this is not the end of the work that he is going to do. Obviously, these companies do have an option, as our legal experts have noted, to fight this. But ABC clearly is not fighting this. They went ahead and ousted him from the airwaves for the time being. And so what is the president is making clear, Phil, is that this is his viewpoint, that late night hosts on these networks that have these licenses should not be able to criticize him, or otherwise they are at risk of losing their license. He is saying it very clearly what he believes that standard is, Phil.
It's like when I used to send my little sister into the store to get another free sample because I done took 8 of them and they said no more. It's very clear what's happening. Yeah. Costco. That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. But why take accountability when you have a perfect fall guy in Pam Bondi? It got so bad that she got a community note. The Attorney General of the United States got a community note on X. Yes, Elon Musk's website. Yeah. This Elon Musk.
We need freedom of speech, and freedom of speech is only relevant if people are allowed. If people you don't like are allowed to say things you don't like, that is the only time freedom of speech is. It can't be that the government is deciding what is or is not misinformation or disinformation, because then you get politics applied to those labels, and in fact, you simply get the suppression of freedom of speech. So really. I think it's wokeism is evil because it is racist, sexist, and anti-free speech. Free speech is only relevant. The First Amendment is only relevant if you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. Because if you like it, you don't need a First Amendment. So the whole point of free speech is that, frankly, even people you hate say things you hate, because if people you hate can say things that you hate, that means that they can't stop you from saying what you want to say.
Wow.
Which is very, very important.
No, not that. No, it wasn't that Elon Musk that did it. No, that was in the before times. That was before the administration change and he completely flip-flopped on free. No, this was who did that. Let him say what he wants, but then pay the price under the law. Now, wait a minute. Why would he have to pay the price under the law, Elon Musk? Why would, because you thought it was hate speech? You thought it was inciting violence? Is that why? You mean like this?
Violence is going to come to you. You will have no choice. You're in a fundamental situation here where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
That cameraman saved him from himself, didn't he? We would have had a whole nother jumping meme. We would have had a whole nother circle of the dark MAGA if that cameraman didn't save him from himself. But that must be what Elon was talking about when it came to the hate speech. But yeah, it was that man. It was his website that saw fit to give Pam Bondi a community note. And so, if it's being discussed on X, then Oh, you thought they didn't go there? Oh, they went there. This is X we talking about. Since my timeline is nothing but quoting this video, I'll pile on. This is because Pam Bondi is a DEI hire. So is Kash Patel. They are solely in their positions because they are not white males, and it's disgusting. No, no. Hey, Kash, I don't know what to tell you. We tried to tell you about that. You know what I mean? We tried to tell you, but it's better for you to see. We wanted to, you had to see it. And Pam has been here before. So, Trump supporters fume at AG Pam Bondi over Epstein files debacle. Quote, she should resign. Does it get better? Have y'all made it better for us? Then no. Then the answer is no.
Bad Bondi. Yes. So I want to be clear here.
Sounds like a rapper.
Yeah. Lil Bad Bondi. Or as opposed to the senior, it's Lil Bad Gold Bondi.
Oh, yeah, because of the
circuit.
infection.
Yeah. Bondi here, and when they were doing the confirmation at that point, I was hoping for the best, holding my nose. Know enough about her background. She does not share your values. She is not a conservative, and I can prove it. She makes the case that hate speech is different from free speech, and that we won't allow hate speech.
Now, this is what we're not going to do, is pretend as if there's some sort of disconnect between Pam Bondi and the administration. I already have articulated they do what you don't have to go by what happened in the past. You could go by what's happening now. JD Vance backs mass doxing campaign to find and harass Charlie Kirk critics. U.S. Vice President encourages calling out anyone who celebrates Kirk's murder, including notifying employers. What's that about values? Huh? What's that you said about values? What's that? Now, doesn't adhere to the value? Sound like it does. Sounds like she's being a very good girl. That is exactly what it sounds like. And if you don't want to take JD Vance's word for it, we can go higher.
Meanwhile,
Greg Abbott, that wasn't for you. Why you always just pop up places you wasn't invited? That was not. What about go higher made you? Fine, you can get it too. In 2019, this man posted, I just signed a law protecting free speech on college campuses. Yet a few days ago says, hey, Texas State, this conduct is not acceptable at our schools. Expel this student immediately. Mocking assassination must have consequences. I like the way they just laid it out like that. That was nice. I like the way that was good. Yeah, that was very well done. You can always leave it to Greg Abbott to be behind on whatever the evolving stance is of MAGA and the administration. You best look after that gerrymander that went wrong. You got bigger fish to fry. And Coach Arch Manning up. You got some. I don't know why you even go handle that, man. They all waiting on you. Now, as I mentioned, if you don't want to take JD Vance's word for it, we can go higher.
We had the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, on air last hour with Caitlin's show, and he tried to argue that the people in the seafood restaurant who taunted, protested the president might have been a racketeering enterprise, all right? I mean, a racketeering enterprise is what I used to use to prosecute the Gambino and Genovese family. Other people used to prosecute MS-13. And the deputy AG, who I've known for 20 years, we were at the SDNY together and have defended him publicly at times, said with a barely straight face that those people in the fish restaurant could be prosecuted under RICO? Come on.
Hold on, Ellie, but this is serious. I mean, this is not just rhetoric.
Yep, that's right. A dinner protest. Huh? You want footage? Where Pam at? All right, come here.
Welcome here. Yes, he is.
is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. What do you want your legacy to be?
Let's go. I can tell you this. They lucky Scott Bessent wasn't there. He don't play. He don't play. So they kind of got away with one on that front. But yeah, that is rough. Pam Bondi, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And MAGA blaming Pam Bondi. That's what we're doing.
Mr. President, you said earlier this week that the women who yelled at you, who were protesting when you were at Joe Stone Crab, should be in jail. Do you actually think that that is an offense that deserves jail time?
I don't know how they got in there, but certainly I thought it was very inappropriate. And they said things that were and it was a question of when you take a look at the way they acted, the way they behaved. Yeah, I think they were a threat.
You think that deserves jail?
Agree with it?
I think they're a nasty organization.
But you think they deserve jail?
Well, I don't know.
You know what? No. Because this was y'all always want to have some kind of fall guy. It's Cash Patel. It's Pam Bondi. No. We will show you exactly what your man is up to. I'll be back. Talking about a RICO charge. Not unless that's on the menu. Talking about a RICO charge. Not unless that's an R&B singer from the 90s. RICO charge sounds like he played defensive tackle for Mississippi State. Yeah. You know, it's only a certain time of night that I bring out that RICO charge. You know what I mean? You one of my special ones. Yeah, you gonna get the RICO charge. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. Obviously, in this time of heightened political tension, communities like we have created here on the channel are even more important. And I am extremely grateful to have this space to grow and share and learn together alongside you guys. And I would like to invite you to come be a part of that community, whether that's just jumping in the comments and letting me know what you think of the content, sending me suggestions at admin@reesewaters.com, and of course, subscribe.
Where there's no gore in this episode. Difficult for me to even look at that sort of footage. Take a look. You can see Charlie's there. And one of you guys probably a little closer. Okay. Right there, an individual standing there. And I'm just amazed at internet sleuths as that is very strange to be calmly talking into their phone. It's like a circus around them. Who's he speaking to? Then just a couple of minutes after, that same individual appears alongside her, and he moves Charlie's chair. Like, that's a crime scene. That's not good. And he moves it You can see Charlie's there. And one of you guys caught this. You probably didn't even see it there. And we can get in a little closer. Do you guys have it slow it down, or do you guys just want to circle here? Okay. Right there. Right there. An individual standing there. Again, I am just amazed at internet sleuths, as I was like, wow, that is very strange. That person appears to be calmly talking into their phone. It's like a circus around them. What's he doing? Who's he speaking to? Then just a couple of minutes afterward, that same individual appears alongside another individual, and he moves Charlie's chair. Like, that's a crime scene. That's not good. And he moves it because he wants to stand on it as he takes down the cameras, or the camera rather, that is just above Charlie's head. That's the camera that I'm talking about on the right-hand side. That's a camera that I'm referring to. And we are going to now take a look at him. And he is also the individual, as many of you pointed out, that was near Charlie or just before the assassination. But let's check out that footage of him in the immediate aftermath, kind of switching around the cameras, the two of them. Take a look.
Not fireworks. We coordinate off this up.
Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit, is what the security detail said.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to get closer. This is just a wide shot, so you can see what's going on here, and then we'll get a bit closer. I know you guys have pulled this footage a million ways, and thank you for that. And here's the closer version of that. You can see down there, he pulls out the chair. And yes, that would be a big no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He takes down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting, and able to provide, therefore, insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will, which we're watching right here. So I'm going when I saw this footage, who is that? Like, actually, I should be able to figure this out because I've got a pretty big network at Turning Point USA. The person's wearing shades. I'm not recognizing the individual. And I reach out to somebody on the inside and I'm just like, who's this person? And they tell me the person's name. And I go, oh, wait a second. And I look again. I'm like, I know this person because it's been a few years, but I know this person. This person's been around Turning Point for quite some time, for years. Like I said, back when I was working at Turning Point, early days. So I'm like, I'm just going to reach out. Obviously, I know this individual. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, what's up with this? Where is this footage? Why did you do this? What were you doing up there on the rocks? What's up? Like, this is not the first thing I would do if I had just witnessed Charlie Kirk being shot. And I'll say this right now. He was extremely forthcoming. Like, as soon as I reached out, I just sent a text because I still had his number. And he was extremely forthcoming, immediately got onto the phone. And first and foremost, I should say, obviously, he's seeing all of these clips going viral and he is fearful for his family. He doesn't have any security, and people are looking, And he said, look, as you can see in the footage, I was sitting right to the left or to the left of Charlie when Charlie got shot. And I instantly knew that he was not going to be okay. I instantly knew that he was dead. And I then, as you can see, people that are running, anybody that was in that zone, ran to the back, and he caught his breath. He wanted to check in with and communicate to other people that were working with and around Turning Point USA. That's why he's on his phone, communicating to them what had happened. That's what he told me. Then I asked, okay, well, what about this camera thing? Why would you grab the cameras? And he says, because the first thing that I thought is that I better secure the footage and be helpful and hand that footage over to the feds. Well, obviously that's where things get into a pickle with me, because we don't trust the feds, right? I'm like, no, we don't trust the feds. So we don't got to do that. Just let me have the footage. I'm like, just send me the footage, please. Let me look at it. There's a lot of conspiracies that are floating around right now. People don't know what to believe. People are doing what I would say, credible videos. People that certainly have the credibility are ballistics experts that are saying that what we see in the front is an exit wound, not an entry wound. I don't know one way or the other because I'm not an expert. I'm getting inundated with messages from people that hunt, people that are in the military, saying that this had to have come from another direction. This footage could help. As if nothing else, let me help you. Let me formally debunk that by seeing this footage. Could you send this footage over to me? Well, he didn't want to send the footage over to me without checking with Turning Point lawyers. I said, look, technically you own the footage. You and some other people own the footage. Let me just see the footage, because why go through lawyers? I just want to see the footage. And also I asked the question, why not just release it? We've already seen the worst thing that you could possibly see from the front, right? The front is what is a traumatizing video. And I understand that he wants to afford his wife some protection like this, to experience that, Erica, so many people watching the love of your life in the last second of their life. It's traumatizing. I'm traumatized by it, right? That's not my husband and the father of my children. And so out of a loyalty to Erica, he also doesn't want to give more footage to the internet. But I said, look, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that, because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. I don't care about anything right now other than figuring out who killed Charlie Kirk. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that, and I watched the footage, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see. If given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this, I don't know anything about any of this. So I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet. Because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see. Okay. That's pretty much all I can tell you right now. And I am going to try to get all of the footage. And I understand that right now he is very fearful. But I am going to continue to try to privately push him to just release it. I believe that transparency is the only way. I'm much more, I think all of us would agree, I have much more trust in the people than I do in the feds. The feds are lying about everything. So they should not be the only people that have access to this. And I understand not wanting to have that relived from another angle, but given the fact that there is no gore and there is no blood from this angle, I don't see why not. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I know some of you guys were insinuating, I got a lot of emails that it could have been a flechette. I had to look that up. I don't even know what that is. I was like, guys, I don't know anything. Flechette shells, that something could have been a lot closer that hit him and that everything else could have been a distraction. All I can tell you is that there's no blood. That's it. There is no blood in that video. So give me your thoughts on that. Now I want to get to another tip that I received that is pretty interesting because, look, as you guys know, when I began investigating this assassination, at no point did I ever speculate that any other country was involved. I never speculated that Israelis were involved. So it was surprising, to say the least, that they're simply pretending that I did, pretending that I blamed Israel, pretending that I said Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. It is now, like I said yesterday, it feels like they are trying to get ahead of something, like they know more than we know. I don't know why you would say something or accuse somebody of saying something that they didn't. I do believe that there's very clearly, we all believe there's very clearly a government level conspiracy that is involved. Okay. There's no other way to assess those disastrous text messages. Absolute disaster of a Fed operation with those messages. Yesterday, I pretty casually mentioned to you guys something, that the doorbell cam footage, which TMZ happened upon somehow, was from a street upon which a ton of employees that work for Caldera Engineering live. We showed you, I think, one or two of those employees, the husband and wife I had mentioned worked for Caldera Engineering, and it is a country that purports to manufacture valves. And I said, I know nothing about the valve industry. All I know is that every time I start investigating a government conspiracy or looking into people that are really shady, like Harley Pasternak, thus far 3 people who I've investigated who oddly, either them or their families had backgrounds working in this very niche valve and piping industry, like manufacturers of valves and pipes. I'm like, is everybody doing that? This is very strange. Well, many of you emailed me something that was quite surprising. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but they let me know that this is a very niche industry. And by niche, I mean that you asserted that it implies major government contracts, likely the CIA. Those of you who have worked at those industries telling me that there are even certain valves that are exclusively manufactured in Israel, and that they tend to be involved in this. The government and the military tend to be involved in this. And that even, by the way, on Caldera's website, they noted that they have worked in Israel. They have a map that they note every country that they have done engineering projects in. And one of them, or 2 dots, are in Israel. And somebody explained why the government gets involved when it comes to valves and piping. And I'm just going to read you this email because maybe there are people at home who are just as ignorant as I am about government level engineering. Okay. This person wrote, "Hi, Candace. I wanted to share some detailed information regarding valves, piping, and their relevance to critical infrastructure and intelligence communities. Valves as critical infrastructure assets. Modern industrial valves are used in pipelines, water treatment plants, power plants, and chemical facilities, are often automated and networked, forming part of operational technology and SCADA systems. This allows remote monitoring and control of the flow of gas, oil, water, and chemicals. Cybersecurity implications. These valves are part of systems that could be targeted for cyber attacks. Compromised valves can cause pipeline ruptures, water contamination, or industrial accidents. Because of this, intelligence and regulatory agencies, the CISA, NSA, PHMSA, FERC, monitor valve networks and may maintain trusted relationships with manufacturers and engineers to ensure security and resilience. Integration with above ground systems. Modern valve networks can also integrate with cameras, sensors, alarms, and environmental monitoring. This means that an operator could simultaneously monitor flow, view live video, and respond to alarms, which enhances both security and operational oversight. And strategic value for intelligence communities, knowledge of valve locations, models, and control systems provide insight into critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. Access to or relationships with manufacturers allows agencies to monitor, assess, and secure supply chains. Remote monitoring of valves and integrated systems can support emergency response simulations and national security exercises. And then they provide us with the real-world context by writing, companies like Caldera Engineering in Provo, Utah, manufacture specialized industrial valves and control systems. While no public evidence currently links them to intelligence contracts, their products could theoretically be part of OT systems monitored by government agencies due to the critical nature of the infrastructure that they serve. In short, valves themselves are simple mechanical devices, but when networked and embedded in critical infrastructure, they become strategically important for monitoring security and intelligence purposes. That just sounds right to me. That, I mean, I'm telling you, every story, I'm like, what is this person? It's like their family's in valve. Like, I mean, I don't know anybody whose family did this. I don't know. Again, like this is the kind of stuff that like, we don't know, but we know. And that hit. And I feel like there is a bigger piece of this that involves Caldera. And like I said, I perceive a government conspiracy. You'd be a fool not to see a government conspiracy here, especially with the way that I am being attacked for simply trying to investigate this. And the attacks are growing frantic. It's almost as if they all received an email from somebody who said, I don't care what you say, make it up out of thin air, and do not stop attacking Candace Owens. That is the loudest. It's like an alarm went off. And everyone, people that I thought I was friends with, are coming after me with obscene lies that are just so easily fact-checked. So easily, you can debunk them in 4 seconds on the internet, and they're delivering it as though it's honest. We're going to talk about that. I was even surprised PBD. I mean, I've always been friendly with him. I've always been kind to him. I have nothing wrong to him. And he seems to be kind of, he's the one who platformed without any pushback, Eric Bolling. And I have an idea about why all of that may be. I'll tell you in just a second. First, I want to remind you guys about GNO land, because what if smart contract platforms were not controlled by the elites or big tech? What if they were built by and for real builders, you know, the people? That's the question that GNO land asked, and that's why they built GNO land. They started with Golang, which is a language real-world developers already use, and they built a new platform around it. It's transparent, it's intuitive, and it just makes sense. There's not some confusing system of ones and zeros. It's open source, so imagine GitHub, but designed for on-chain collaboration and composability. Builders actually get credit for their work, and they get rewarded. So every time that their code gets used, that's the real value. It's not likes, there's not clout, it's actual rewards. GNO land rejected proof of stake, which is a system where the rich run the show. They went instead with proof of authority, a DAO where contributors and not bad actors or Silicon Valley actually call the shots. GNO.land is open, it's fair, and honestly, it's pretty unstoppable. So if you are a builder, a freedom lover, or just tired of rigged platforms, please check it out over at gno.land/Candace. Again, that's gno.land/Candace. Now, I've watched too many people who I am close to be vilified for standing up for the truth. I have felt the sting of injustice myself, but I've also felt something else, which is courage. I'm done playing defense. I'm not going to water down what I believe to be palatable, because silence is not kindness at all. It's consent in many ways. And right now, the greatest silence is around the lives that are being ended before they take their first breath. If we're going to call ourselves defenders of life, then we have to act like that. That's why I'm asking you guys to join me to fight back with action, with truth, with love. For just $28, that is what it costs to give a free ultrasound to a woman that's in crisis and considering an abortion. You can help her to see the life that is growing inside of her and to give her truth that the culture won't. So don't sit this out. Do not wait for permission. Be bold, be clear, be unapologetic in your pro-life stance. Go to preborn.org/Candace right now. Give $28. Give 10 times that if you can, actually, because this is the line and it's time to stand on it. We must stand for truth and what is right. We must save lives from abortion and stand firm in the gospel. Again, that is preborn.org/Candace to provide an ultrasound for just $28. Also telling you guys about the wellness company because it is flu season, which means that it's also flu shot season. After everything that we've been through over the last 5 years, the number of people getting flu shots is at a record low. I'm so grateful for that. Not to mention the fact that according to the CDC, it's only. Okay. All right. So let's get into how weird these headlines are getting. It's very strange. And I think we know why it's happening. We obviously know why it's happening. But even the publications that are usually not so blatant, because in order to be a propagandist, you want to be effective, right? You got to like lie a little and get people to believe you, not just do things that are just so nakedly deceptive that people go, okay, why am I even reading this publication? Well, the Daily Mail put out this headline about me. I can't even like this. Look at this journalist, Victoria Churchill, who reached out. She writes, Candace Owens rages after being snubbed from the Charlie Kirk Memorial speaking roster. When did this happen? Like the lying here is actually making me uncomfortable. I told you yesterday that we received way too many emails about Charlie's memorial. All of them were asking specifically for me to confirm that I was going. Didn't feel good to me. It felt very inauthentic. I know these journalists are not my friends. I knew they were writing hit pieces, but all of them included that question. Are you going? Are you going to go? Like, you want me to confirm my attendance so that you know where I'm going to be ahead of time? Am I being paranoid? Or does that seem like a little weird? Even on PBD's show, where he just gives a platform to a guest to completely lie for 2 minutes straight, there is this random second where PBD rather oddly says something along the lines of, you don't think she's going to the funeral? Like they keep talking about this. Take a listen again.
At some point, her credibility, I mean, is going to go down the tubes because she needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet?
It's still going. I think
he was there
Rob's
in the
still
room.
reading it.
Andrew Colbert was there in the room. You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015,
Oh,
2016.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
so let without being biased.
There's a
is Candace even involved in Shirley Kirk's life at all?
No question, proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. Be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's not.
Now she's not even invited.
Correct. So this. So their divide is.
Wait a minute. Not invited, meaning
she's not even there.
Yeah, she's not. She's not
there.
one of the names.
You don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's
I mean,
not the funeral.
The heir to the TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean.
Okay, so first and foremost, why did they all want to know if I was going to this event? I said there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying but anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to like push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she like shows up and like posts it on social media. Nope. Actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now. I mean, I'm not going to this memorial because it's strange. To lie like this is very strange. For context, just so you can realize how odd this is, I spoke at Turning Point's conference, 2 conferences last year. It's so easily, like I said, debunkable that you have to ask yourself why they are saying it. Here is me speaking on Turning Point USA's stage last year. And here's what I said, by the way, which got Charlie in a lot of trouble.
Well, let me tell you something, America. It does feel so good to go everywhere in the world and to realize that there is awakening, not just happening here. Let me tell you guys, it's happening all across the globe. People are starting to ask the hard questions. And you start getting close when they start to call you names. They instantly want to suggest that there's something wrong and there's something backwards about being America first. You're starting to hear the way they're framing that now. When you say you're America first, they'll ask you, what do you mean you're America first? Do you mean that you're an isolationist? Do you believe that we shouldn't have did what we did during World War II? All of these things trying to pollute it. It's not that difficult. America first. First name America, last name first. We put this country's interests before the interests of foreign countries overseas. All of them. I don't care.
Yeah, it kind of went on and on, but it was kind of me saying, especially since 3 months earlier, I had gotten fired from the Daily Wire, like, Israel, you're not special. And yeah, Charlie got in trouble for the stuff that I said on stage, and then they came inward. I told that I was not allowed to speak at AbFest. The donors were making threats, but like I went on tour with Turning Point last year. It's so on their website. It's so, this is like the strangest thing. We could pull up this website, Live Free Tour, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Quiet breakup. Why are we doing this? It's very strange. Here's all the places that we went to last year. Now they are pushing these headlines that are so far beyond the realm of reality, like the one that I just showed you, where they say that I'm angry. And then when you look into who's writing these articles, like Victoria Churchill, you note that she has a connection to AIPAC. So AIPAC is pushing this, right? The answer is implied by the people who are attacking me. They are all ultra-Zionists, right? Like I said, the author of that article is an ultra-Zionist. And here she is starting off. She's got a picture of herself. You can scroll down. I don't know if you can see this. You see the audience. A thrill, America. So for a foreign country, and I feel like Bibi Yahoo is spending a lot of money right now. He is just way too involved, concerned about Turning Point USA, the future of Turning Point USA, attacking Candace Owens. And I think something sinister is going on here. How can you not see that? I also want to say this. I have had a flood of Turning Point employees reach out to me, maybe because he says she would have been the natural heir to Turning Point USA. I'm not trying to be the heir to Turning Point USA. I kind of like my life. I don't want to take money from donors, okay? Because they do what they did to Charlie. They're not donating money to charity because they view it as a charity. They're doing it because they want to purchase your voice. That's it. And I don't want to give mine up. But what these people are telling me is a very dark story that involves these donors, sponsors, influencers, a takeover of sorts that I think was happening right under Charlie's nose. And I want to say this formally as we keep investigating this. I believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people who are close to him. Based on what I have seen thus far, the evidence, the quote unquote receipts that require a way deeper investigation into the apparatus, the financial apparatus at Turning Point, there was definitely some weird activity leading up to this moment happening at the organization. And I've been able to verify it. I have been given names, and I intend to now embark on this lengthier investigation, which I need more help on. I've reached out to some journalists. I'm sharing the information with them. And I think we're going to discover that this was ugly, uglier than we could have ever imagined. Okay. There is a fear here that we are all perceiving, a desperation almost to end the investigation. The smears are becoming radical. You can't just pretend Candace hasn't spoken to Charlie Kirk in years, but they're doing it. And they're trying to be convincing and shocked and putting this out. I've never stopped talking to Charlie. I mean, yesterday I released just one of many messages that I have with Charlie, which prove that he was, in the months leading up to this, concerned about Israel and how Israel was coming after our free speech. Free speech meant a lot to him, right? This message is from May. We can pull it back up, right? Charlie sent me his tweet because after the assassination of Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lachinsky in DC, people were calling for like hate speech laws. And Charlie, authored a long tweet saying these were beautiful people. They had their lives ahead of them, but I must push back against one thing. And again, it was just the justification that this somehow meant that we had to, get rid of free speech. Like it was suddenly like, oh, well, this happened, so now we need to say free speech is wrong. And so I wrote back to him and I said, great tweet. And he gave prayer hands. And I said, speech censorship is coming to America. And he wrote back, as you can see, and the date here is May 22nd of this year. It totally is. Okay. Me and Meghan and Tucker are not lying to you. Charlie was concerned about the speech, that he felt the restrictions. And inevitably, this happens when you get into bed with Israel. You can't criticize them at all, as Meghan said, before you start enduring threats. And what I have learned from the employees there is that back in May, Turning Point had some big changes, some odd changes, as they are describing it to me, certain departments, people that were being fired, people that were told that they had to keep certain things a secret. Secret from whom? Secret from whom? Something is not right. Nothing we are being told is true. And the strangest thing is that Pam Bondi, who is a complete loser and a tool, is trying to use the assassination of Charlie Kirk to lay the groundwork for hate speech laws in America. The very thing that Charlie was fighting against. They all just got right to work trying to pass laws. Well, Charlie Kirk is that, so now we got to hate speech is something. Exactly what he's messaging me about that he doesn't want to happen. They're trying to use his death to justify. Listen to what Pam Bondi said to Katie Miller on her podcast. Take a listen.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech.
No.
And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
So to be clear, that's the feds telling you that they want to pass speech laws, which will basically just give them the full power to go after you for wrongthink. Okay. And they're doing it in the most disturbing way ever by going after Charlie Kirk's legacy and using his assassination to say, oh, well, now we've got to get hate speech done, which, by the way, who was the person and the leader who said that he was passing laws against speech in America? That was Bibi Netanyahu. Okay. Years ago, on record, saying that he was working with the government of America, and any person that criticized Israel would find themselves on the wrong side of the law. Okay. You can find that clip of him saying that. And now what's happening? Well, we have an occupied administration. There's no question. Trump is occupied by Zionists. Okay. He's completely impotent. He's completely powerless. He cannot say anything that goes against Israel or Bibi Netanyahu. He's letting them do whatever they want. No pushback whatsoever. It's very clear Bibi is in control, and his administration is saying that. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But this was the plan. Okay. This was the plan. And we have to stand up to this, guys. We have to fight this tooth and nail. The reason they're doing this, obviously, is because they can't win in the free markets. People are, as Meghan said, people that are under 30 are anti-Israel. So that means the future of America is anti-Israel. So what they're going to try to do is to pass speech laws, Bolshevik speech laws. They're going to arrest us for saying that we don't support Israel. Something that Charlie was passionately against. Okay. And we can show you next week clips of him hosting the debate about speech and Israel and whether or not everything was anti-Semitism. And he was very clear in his perception that this was going to increase anti-Semitism, trying to pass speech laws or labeling people anti-Semites for criticizing Bibi Netanyahu. It's all out there, and they're lying to you. Am I cynical for believing that, yeah, the feds are obviously lying, and I would say at some level, in a very big way, were involved in the death of Charlie because they wanted this sort of radical way to push through laws. When something chaotic happens, we usually turn to the government. I mean, 9/11, what did we do? We gave them so much power, right? The Patriot Act. Do whatever, just keep me safe. It's like they see your emotion, they see this global emotion, and they want you to just agree with them that the next step is more power for the government. And this time we're saying no. No, Pam Bondi. No, thank you. Genuinely, why are you in office? How can this administration pretend that they are the same administration that they were in 2016 that were fighting against this? The same administration that was going, oh, well, the George Floyd death, radical Dems, BLM, speech laws. It was wrong when the left did it. And it's wrong now that the right is doing it, which leads me to believe that we are fighting opposite sides of the same coin. It's us versus them, the elites versus the rest of us. That's it. Everything else is a mirage. And speaking of free speech, I want to speak about Jimmy Kimmel because he has been pulled off air indefinitely over his comments in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. So let's take a listen to what Jimmy Kimmel said on his show.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Okay, so that's what he said. Whether or not you think it was a insensitive joke, okay, I don't think that would have been the justification for saying that he now needs to donate to charity and lose his whole life. And this is what happened. He's taken off air, and some people are saying, hey, Candace, they did this to us. And you're not wrong, right? If you are on the right and you are saying that when the whole George Floyd thing happened, people lost their jobs for saying sensible things or making a joke, you are correct. Like, you are right to say, yes, that absolutely did happen. But if you're not recognizing that when you just flip the coin, it's the same people that are gaining more power, I just want the attacks on free speech to stop, okay? I want the reaction, if you're angry about what Jimmy Kimmel said, is for the free markets to take him out, right? He doesn't have a show because nobody's watching him anymore because they're so disgusted by what he said. That's what I want. I want us to be in control, right, of where we spend our dollars, of to pass a button, everything, because we don't like what we said. And it should be noted, by the way, that in this model did call the murder senseless. The day it happened, Kimmel posted a message on Instagram sending love to the Kirk family, the victim. He posted, instead of the angry finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it's horrible and monstrous to shoot another person? On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks and to all the children, parents, and innocents who fall victim to senseless gun violence. You wouldn't have thought that he had posted that in terms of everyone that were just like strip him of everything. And I want to be clear, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, right? I think he is a part of the radical left. The people that are constantly shouting, I don't like him at all. But I'm just recognizing that our solution to being angry at each other always seems to be, let's give the government more power, right? Let's give the government more power. And that's what happened here. The chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, jumped up and he criticized Jimmy Kimmel's remarks. He threatened federal action against ABC affiliates who carried the show. What? Federal action if you carry the Jimmy Kimmel show? Does that seem right to you? Okay. Again, if you're on the right and you cheered this on, do you understand? We never, ever, ever should be applauding federal action when it comes to speech. Okay. We're all losing. We are all losing. You have to wake up. That's what happened. Brendan Carr of the FCC was joining Benny Johnson. And that's what he said, that he absolutely wants to make sure that people are not carrying this show anymore. And that after, one of the mergers that they did, I just see the same people are constantly being empowered. And I want to point that out to you because you have to be more conscious of that. It's like they use our emotions, left versus right, to manipulate all of us. And it's completely wrong. And it's completely crazy. And they're also calling for him to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. What? That's a shakedown. That's what they did to Kyrie Irving. I don't like what you said. Donate to the Holocaust Museum. What? I can't cheer this on, guys. I'm sorry. I can't cheer this on because I don't like it. I know for a fact, as I just showed you, that this was Charlie's fear. The government coming in on speech. That's what's happening right now. They're taking over our speech under the guise of fighting hate. TikTok, by the way. Did you guys see this? Israel's pretty much taking over TikTok. There's no other way to say it. Mark Andreessen in on a deal with, I think it's a Silver Capital. What is it? Not Silver Lake. They're all coming together, and we knew this was going to happen. This whole fake canceled TikTok. No, TikTok was going pro-Palestine, and a bunch of hedge fund people who are pro-Israel got involved. Trump pretended that he was going to rescue speech. No, he's handing it over to Israel. Okay, wake up. If you're a Trump supporter, wake up. Okay, he has handed so much over to Israel, and he's about to hand over the keys to our speech. All that aside, I do want to shout out to all the creators that are making me laugh. Let's use our speech while we're still allowed to have it. And you also have to remember, Charlie wanted us to be happy warriors. So while we are fighting for truth, while we are fighting for transparency, we should remember that we should laugh, be happy. And the clips that you guys are making regarding how the feds think that we speak after that ridiculous made up text chain between Tyler Robinson and his lover, Lance, they're hilarious. Your TikToks and the videos are hilarious. I'm going to show you just one here. This is Chris Olsen, at Chris Olsen. He's actually over on Instagram. Take a listen.
Good day, my love. I have just committed one of the highest sins of the Lord, murder. I must flee the country now in my vehicle. I've hidden the weapon. It was mine. I won't see you for a very long time. Unless you come with me. If not, I will see you after the war, my love.
Why is that so accurate? What went wrong, FBI? What went wrong? Speak to us. Let us help you. You guys just old? Like, what's going on? I actually think there was a person on TikTok. I hate to not credit them, but I genuinely don't remember what handle it was. I was just scrolling through. But he suggested that what went wrong was that they did use AI, and in their AI prompt, they said to create a conversation between 20-year-olds, or like a conversation between 20-year-olds, but they actually wrote like the AI understood it as like not people in their 20s, but like people in the 20s, like the 1920s. And I was like, that actually could have been what went wrong. They prompted AI and they said between people in their 20s, and actually they wrote people in the 20s, and they just went with it. And that's why you have this, hello, my love. Like, it's so bad. It's a major blunder. It's a very bad blunder, you guys. But I'm happy it happened, because everything's coming undone. We're exposing everything. We're going to figure out everything. And I feel good about that. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. We're gonna. Happen. I don't want to scare everybody into going back to bed, so I'll just make myself small over here and say good morning to everybody. We got a lot of great research from our Europeans from this morning, and well, I don't know, 2 o'clock. I don't know if that's late night or early morning, but anyway, yes, it is early. But it's because of the breaking news. We have to kind of do the show when the breaking news occurs, and we don't really get the option of choosing when to do the show. So first of all, 100% to the big guy. No, I haven't showered. No, I haven't shaved. None of that. So I know I look terrible, but 100% to the big guy. That's what we're working for. And to Scott, people fighting cancer, people fighting autoimmune diseases, people fighting inflammatory diseases. There you go. Hello from Texas. See, there's people up. People say, oh, there's not going to be anybody up at 4:30 in the morning. There's people up. So people up getting it done. And I love this one in the morning here to the doggies. All the doggies. Sometimes we feel like we're dogs because all we do is just we just do dog walks, going all these places where these crimes are committed. Plus, we have the sniffing cancer dogs. Plus, we have the crime dogs, the sniffing crime dogs, and so it's always good. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Let's go back here. Wide awake. Okay, great. I'm 3 hours into my day here at 4. So this tweet I put out last night at it's been less than 10 hours. There's a simultaneous sip, and it's gotten over 550,000 views already. And that is, did Tyler meet the plane? Did Tyler get on an aeroplane? He didn't take the fast train. Nah, I'm coming home. I'm going home. I wrote my mom a letter, So that's what we're looking at here is did Tyler meet the plane? Or I saw people, Ermira, the Oak Ridge Boys now I know does Ermira, my heart's on fire. Yeah. So I'm sorry, we're skipping that because it's Lucy in the sky. It's Tyler in the sky with diamonds. So that's where we are this morning. So, I've managed to put a sock on my foot. Great to see you all here. Who owns the plane? Well, it's Bang Bang Maxwell Silver Hammer. We're getting to a lot of songs here, but Bang Bang Max Field Silver Hammer owns the plane. There's a lot of shadiness to the plane. We're going to get to the plane. Bang Bang Maxwell Maxfield Silver Hammer. We're going to get to that in an apparent prone position on the roof. We're going to get to that. Stumbled on your channel, headed to X to follow. Thank you very much for following. I appreciate it. Good morning. Yeah, it's Tyler in the sky with diamonds potentially here. We found maybe his meetup for the plane, for the spy plane, which is N888. N888. N is the designation for a domestic U.S. plane. 888, easy to remember, and then KG for like keg, like for a college keg party. So N888 KG, and we're looking at did N888 KG. We know N888 KG takes off at 6:53. Here's Tyler supposedly at the Dairy Queen. I think the timestamp has been slightly altered here at 6:38. So we don't know. Again, maybe this is the same plane that does 2 or 3 round trips to Page, Arizona. It's also the plane that turns off its transponder. So we don't know where it goes right after. It's about an hour and a half after the Charlie Kirk assassination. The plane takes off and making all these round trips. Plus, it's in the air, even though it's only a 15-minute plane ride between these locations. It's in the air for 2.5 hours after it leaves, potentially with Tyler. So there's a lot here. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Yeah, it's Tyler in the sky with diamonds, potentially. So we're going to get to Tyler in the sky with diamonds. Oh, I look handsome. Thank you so much. Hello from the UK. Tell me where in the UK, because it always keys me on all the places I've been in the UK and the places I haven't been, so I can figure out where to go the next time. We're going to save the UK with song. We're going to save Ireland with song. We're doing it with Van Morrison in Ireland. We don't have a partner yet. We were talking about Stevie Nicks, but we don't have a partner yet to save England with song. But we're looking for a partner. You're watching a movie. Well, yeah, in a way you are. Peter Duke talks about this with reframing reality. The thing we did on this story, though, is everyone was watching a movie, and then we punched through this story. This was Candace Owens' story. We gave her full credit. We put the bug on, M Ultra Truth on there for her credit. But then we went and visited this DQ with 3 different citizen journalists. I had just left Utah. I didn't get any sleep for this last week, so I need to get out. Plus, it's very dangerous. People, racking SKSs outside my door. It seemed like all hours of the night. A lot of psychological intimidation. So I just needed some time so I could sleep. And then this happens, and I only get an hour of sleep. So you're watching a movie unless there's citizen journalism. Unless there's citizen journalism, you're watching a movie. You don't know what's true. But when there's citizen journalism, you punch through. Here, let me do that with a little bit more dramatic effect. With citizen journalism, you punch through. You see how you're punching through with citizen journalism? You're punching through the screen. You're punching through the screen. You're punching through. Look at you. You're punching through. You're punching through the screen with 3 different people that visit this location and verify the Superman movie poster and all the things in the scene, and talk to the people at the DQ and say, did you really post these pictures and so forth? And is it an elaborate hoax? It could be. That everybody in the DQ got together and said, hey, let's phony up some things. But Mike Adams has tweeted this out. Candace Owens has tweeted this out. We've had 3 levels of AI checking on this. We've sent 3 people, citizen journalists, on it. So there's a lot of fact checking that's occurred. And it does seem like Tyler in the Sky with Diamonds. It does seem like he's meeting the plane, Hervé Villachez. So glad to be here with Denmark. Dude, you're up at 3. I know. I'm trying to give credit to Frau Hodel. Frau Hodel has done some incredible work. If this little video and this little post didn't get 550,000 views, I wouldn't be up at this moment. I'll be honest with you. I'll be real frank. But because it is of such interest with 550,000 views already, and it's not even 8 o'clock on the East Coast yet, I wanted to give some background here on all the things we're doing around this story. Again, Candace Owens put the thing out. We went out with 3 different citizen journalists and verified the story. That is this the plane meetup? This is important, right? Monkey Works took down the podcast with the plane. Well, that doesn't change the plane flying, and you're going to see all the times that the plane flies. The thing about me is I work for $8 a month, right? And so if somebody sues me, their lawyer's going to look in to see what I'm worth now after putting all my money into citizen journalism, and they're going to go, he can't even pay for parking, right? He can't even pay for parking. If we sue him, he won't be able to afford the parking to come to court, right? Whereas Monkey Works may be intimidated. I'm not intimidated, and I get discovery in that. So not only do they don't even get parking change from me, right? I get discovery. So the worst thing in the world they could do is sue me, right? Because that's what we want. We want the discovery. This is why Podesta Group didn't sue. This is why Podesta Group folded instead of doing, when we sued them with ARMZ, this is why they folded the company, right? This is why Clinton Foundation mothballed the company, because we did the Braverman investigation. So it doesn't even look like the same kid. Well, same hat, same glasses, same shirt, same everything, same shoes. So yeah, other than that, other than Candace Owen putting it out and Mike Adams putting it out, it doesn't look like it's authentic. Yeah, okay. Team Tyler widens. Yeah, there's a lot of people working on this. Kathy's saying, I'm one of the grandmothers in tennis shoes. Beware the grandmothers in tennis shoes. Everyone's making fun of grandmothers in tennis shoes. Don't underestimate grandmothers in tennis shoes. They can get a lot done, even if they can't visit the locations. But we had one, it wasn't a grandmother, she was a young mother. I'll just say her name, Mary. I won't say her last name. But she was one of the first people there and confirmed all this and shot the interior and talked to the people. And then there was 2 other people that followed her. So beware grandmothers in tennis shoes. Don't underestimate them. This isn't alone. Getting on a private plane, right? And it's got huge China connections. Navajo strong. They're huge into the Navajo Indian reservation. They're the fastest growing company in America, supposedly, which is Unique, spelled with a Y. Unique's the fastest growing company in America for female cosmetics. Have you heard of Unique before? I think it's Unique that I've never heard of it, and it's supposed to be the fastest growing company. So there's a lot of indicators here that there's something rotten in Denmark. Nothing. I love Denmark, Copenhagen, etc. So don't take that the wrong way. I'm just doing the Shakespeare. Lincolnshire. Oh, I've been to Lincolnshire. Beautiful Lincolnshire. On the way up to Cambridge, visiting all my friends. That's where I found the fox in Cambridge. I found the Christopher Steele fox in Cambridge, right? When I was doing the Cambridge 5 spy work up there. And then you go through Lincolnshire on the way up there. It's beautiful. Did you see the trap doors? Well, yeah, there's always going to be the sewer grate. There's always going to be these other things. This is a photo from, Mike Adams has verified it. Candace Owens has verified it. This is a photo at the Dairy Queen. We've verified it with 3 different citizen journalists. We've done 3 levels of AI to make sure it's not faked and phonied. So this is real journalism. That other stuff with, well, maybe there's a canary, that flew in, or this or that, or aliens. We're not really about that. We're talking about mainstream journalism here. So let's see. Hello from South Korea. Boy, this is the other good thing is we get the people from South Korea when we come on this early, and we probably get a few New Zealanders and a few Kiwis and a few Australians. People racking the SKS. Well, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that sound is at 3 a.m. I don't know what that sound is. Why are they outside my door at 3 a.m? And then guys with sleeve tattoos, all kinds of, skulls and, bleeding bodies. And who has that as a tattoo unless you're an Aryan Nation, an Aryan Knight? Loyalty on your neck, throat tattoo. I mean, come on. These are serious folks, right? So George Webb, Truth about Charlie Assassination being on Amazon the day before the event. Yeah, but you can put a book out there and then change the title, right? You can have a book about September 11th that you're going to publish and then change the title. So I'm an Amazon author. I've done 50 books on Amazon. So another booklets, they're 111-page booklets. And so people say, well, you didn't do a 400-page book on. I did a couple of big ones. But when we got to the big ones, we went to Neighborhood News. Okay. So here we go. Shout out for the UK for Castle Flashback. How about Acne Castle, where the first oil cartel was formed? How about Acne Castle? Nobody talks about Acne Castle. Let's see. How did the dad fall into this? How does he know? Well, the uncle is the one we're looking at, and I'll get to the Substack in a second. The uncle is the one we're looking at to get him to Ukraine. He's big in Azov. He does the Fallen Cossack Warrior Foundation. He does Radio Free Ukraine. He's with the Azovs every day. He's talking about the Azovs. He has a tactical nuclear clearance. He has a anthrax clearance for the highest level of clearance in the military. That's how we think Tyler got to Ukraine. But we're going to talk about the anticipatory intelligence here in a second. This is the pre-crime. This is the Gotham. This is the Palantir, the pre-crime, the look-ahead crime, the Minority Report type of thing out of Utah State. And we're going to get there. The CIA gal runs the program. We're going to get there. Just wait for a minute. Military intelligence operation sure looks like it. Did the statement issued by the owner plane? Yes, I did. But he left out the most important piece. The Maxfield, Bang Bang Maxfield Silver Hammer left out the 650 flight. He left out the 653 flight. He had an alibi. That's the other thing. That's bad metadata. When you provide an alibi for something you're not accused. Oh, there I go. They're making me go away now. When you provide an alibi, whoa, they're making me go away. Oh boy. When you provide an alibi for a crime that you're not accused of, well, I'm going to be now disappeared. So you're just going to hear my voice. I'm going to come in and out like Banquo's ghost here. So it is what it is. I'm being filtered out by the censors, I think. But anyway, Maxwell's Silver Hammer is supposed to be a song about a plastic surgeon that did work on Paul McCartney after the real Paul McCartney died. Who knew that the Beatles were actually writing about the Maxfield? Who knew that the Beatles weren't writing about the plastic surgery? They were writing about Maxfield and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Who knew that was actually Tyler in the Sky with Diamonds? And who knew about this meeting at 653? It's all coming together. We deserve to hear the truth, and that's why citizen journalism's here. And I'm sorry I'm coming in and out like Banquo's ghost, but it should remind the Macbeths and the poisoners here and the murderers here that the ghosts of citizen journalism are upon you, right? So we'll just be Banquo's ghost here for the rest of this show. Thanks for restreaming. Thanks for reposting. Next week, they'll tell us the killers, nothing to see here. This is bigger than Kennedy assassination. This is the big misconception that Trump's making and everyone's making. They think it's here he comes, there he goes story. This is bigger than JFK. A lot of the people, like Owen Schroyer mentioned this the other day, they've never seen an assassination. They weren't there in 77 when we all saw Geraldo Rivera show the Zapruder film for the first time. Sorry, I'm coming in and out like Banquo's Ghost, but it does have kind of an eerie Macbeth delivery here. So there's nothing I can do about it. So there, as daylight breaks, maybe it'll change. But anyway, this generation, they're going to be affected like this, like 9/11 affected Gen X. They're never forgetting this, right? This isn't ever going away. This is going to be talked about 50 years from now, right? This is a part of the psyche of kids in college right now that is never going to leave them. I was there on campus. You saw me going all up and down for the days and days. They're never forgetting this. They're counseling. They're the victims in this. Charlie Kirk's not the victim. They think they're the victims. Psychologically in PTSD, they believe they're the victims. They're never forgetting this, right? Never, ever. So this is huge. 100% to God, always 100% to the big guy upstairs. Not 10%, Hunter. Not 10%. Look at this. This is a Banquo thing. It won't even do my coffee. Won't even do my coffee. Sorry about that macabre effects, but it'll help you see the back. Yeah, they said he changed outfits. Well, if you look at the Harlequin romance that goes back and forth, if he flew the plane, who flew the Challenger? And this is a great question. Did the Challenger even make it? Did the Challenger ever go? Did the Challenger ever go to Provo and Orem, right, from St. George? Did it ever leave the driveway? Did they just drive it over from the Robinsons over to the fake girlfriend, right? Did it ever go, right? We don't have a license. This is why they withheld the license plate. This is why they withheld the color of the car. This is why they held the make and model of the car, right? We think we see a gray car go by on the West Street from the 800 West camera, but did the Challenger even get there? We don't even know, right? And of course, they named it after NASA and the Challenger, that disaster. So the money had a statement issued by the owner. Yeah, the plane, Maxfield, Maxfield Silver Hammer, he explained the 138 flight. He explained that, I flew up there and then the plane flew back at 2:00, right? And then it flew back again and left again at 6:53. He left out the later flight. He left out the Dairy Queen run flight here, which is important, right? Let's see. I'm not going to accept the lies anymore. You don't have to. You're with the right folks. You're with citizen journalism. So, there you go. It's 650,000 views and counting. This isn't going anywhere, folks. This is only going to be. Okay. My dog just woke me up to see you. See how good the dogs know. The dogs know here, right? The dogs have this figured out. They're sniffing the cancers out and they're scratching the white van with uric and saying there's explosives in this van. There's a conspiracy here to kill Trump. The dogs are smart here. Why is there a demand for the autopsy and the facts? Boy, I tried to, when you mention the autopsy around these people, they look at you like you shot their dog. When you mention the autopsy or you mention the bullet, the missing magic bullet, the disappearing bullet, they look at you like you shot their dog. We had 3 different levels of AI. We had Mike Adams put out that this was genuine. We have Candace Owens put it out that was genuine. We had 3 different people go and visit the location and verified the Superman poster being there, and we verified all of it. So you don't get this kind of verification and validation with regular news, with mainstream news or alternative news. You don't get this kind of validation and verification ever, right? Hit the like button, please do. Yes. It's not a diamond. We don't know what kind of diamond. Tyler may have diamonds on the soles of his shoes. We don't know what Tyler has on the soles of his shoes, right? See, he's much more filled out than the original freshman pictures at Utah State. We're going to get to Utah State. We're going to get into anticipatory intelligence in a second. But he's filled out quite a bit, right, since those really super skinny kid pictures 4 years ago. And they did the same thing with crooks. They showed all the baby pictures of crooks for 60 days, and they never showed us the filled out picture of the tall crooks walking by the Trump banners and so forth. They did the same thing with this, same thing. He changed his outfit. Well, he changed his shirt. It's the same jeans. Or somebody else was in the picture. The person who's going up the stairwell doesn't look anything like Crooks. Excuse me, it doesn't look anything like Robinson, right? I mean, you can tell it's two different people. So it's interesting. Yeah, day before, but you can change it, so it's not a big deal. So now we choose if they shut it down. No, yes, they can go ahead and shut it down. It's not going to stop people. This is bigger than the Kennedy assassination by far. Why? Because it's filmed. It's not one Zapruder film, right? It's 50, and they're not making any effort to collect the student films. There's 50 or 500 students filming this, right, and seeing this, right? So this sound is so much better. The cameras are so much better than the Zapruder film. The analysis of the supersonic crack and then the subsonic follow up for acoustic analysis is so much better. We have so much better CAD tools than we did in 1963. Everything is better, massively better. We have massive AI capability. This is going to be the first massive group intelligence problem solving here. If you're not a grandmother yet, congratulations on being a mom, and you know, great thoughts to you. Hopefully that you someday become a grandfather. Someday I'll be a grandfather. Who knows? But watch out for moms, watch out for dads, watch out for grandfathers, watch out for grandmothers. Everybody underestimates them. Everybody said, "Oh, you have to be Gen Z. You got to be one of these new kids to run computers." No, I don't think so. I don't think that's true. So let's see. Trafford Stecker's remains were found where we were in Wenatchee. We went to the actual site. We said we think it's going to be, the bones are going to be around here after he's done doing his dirty dozen murders, and that's exactly what happened. Is this a real or AI? It's real as rain. It's real as rain. It's as good as you can do. Sending 3 people there. 3 different people have gone there from our group and researched this. I had just left Utah. So Unique does seem like a Ponzi scheme. Ask any woman, do you use Unique? Have you ever heard of Unique? Mary Kay, yes. Avon, yes. Some of these other Max Factor, yes. Max Field it's almost like a ripoff of Max Factor, right? But any of the major names in cosmetics, nobody's ever heard of Unique. And it's the fastest growing corporation in America, and they're flying planes around the time of the Charlie Kirk assassination. And they have this Chinese Cultural Center that we're going to talk about in Layton. Wait until you hear about the Chinese Cultural Center. Wait until you hear about Navajo Strong. They've got a huge Navajo where, you know, the CIA's been running drugs and weapons since the World War II, right, on the Navajo Indian reservation. So you got everything in this story with this plane, this 9888 plane. The governor, we'll talk about the Governor Cox. You saw me up at the State House yesterday. And here we go. From Queensland. Oh, boy. Good on you, mate. I remember my last trip to Brisbane, and nothing like a dinky die Aussie, man. Nothing like the great Australian. They have all the culture. People think that Australia doesn't have culture. I think there's better culture than in Australia. You know, people just totally underestimate it. There's the Sydney Opera House and all these great things. I went to opera in the Outback, Kiri te Kanawa and so forth. Fantastic culture in Australia, but also they'll give you a go. You know, if you try to in anything, an Australian, you challenge them in any sport, darts, soccer, football, whatever, baseball, all the American sports, they'll challenge you. They'll go toe to toe with you all day long, and they won't quit. They've just got that dinky die Aussie in them. They don't quit. MLM, Unique. It does seem like a multi-level marketing scheme. It does seem like a CIA front. It just like Amway, just like Blackwater and Amway with Nancy DeVos or Betsy DeVos and Eric Prince. It just seems like another one of these CIA fronts. So we're going to get to that CAI, believe it or not. We think that now we think that Tyler might be involved in the CAI, which is the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence. And I'm not kidding you, it started by a CIA person. This is even more the Nancy DeVos story than the Nancy DeVos story. Nancy DeVos is going to sue for, hey, you did my life story. Did he catch a plane afterwards? We don't know. And that's why we're trying to get the data. Is there a challenger? We want to data fence this, Dairy Queen. It's on Canyon Road, 1545 Canyon Road. I went by it. I walked the campus 3 times. I walked the path of him leaving 2 or 3 times on the university. We want to get all that information. Will you know the truth? We'll never know the truth. Well, we'll never know the truth if we don't try, right? We'll never know the truth if we don't try. If we stick our head in the sand and become ostriches, we certainly won't know the truth, right? We already have busted this thing so wide open in 1 or 2 days, right? In a week's time, we know way more than we knew with Crooks. Way more. So let's see. I knew you'd be up this morning. Yep. Let's see. You still have contact with Hopsticker. Dan died, but I learned so much from Dan. Get to a crime scene early before the cover up, right? Get to the crime scene early before the cover up. Morning for Niagara Falls. I went there 4 years ago. We were doing the Peace Bridge. We were up there in Buffalo. We were doing a whole bunch of work on bringing in these operatives, these trans operatives. Remember, they were killed a border guard up there. We were researching that. So he's a plane expert. Okay. Yeah. Well, you remember me on the tarmac with Dan in Florida, in front of Rudy Decker's place, in front of Huffman Aviation. You may remember me talking about when there was no tower, right? And a lot of the CIA places use no tower. There's no tower here at PBU either in Provo, right? That keeps people away from taking your picture when you're coming and going, right? I'm not saying it's drugs. I'm not saying it's drugs like it was in Venice, but wait until you get to my Hill Air Force Base stuff. Oh, I got my phone ringing here. Sorry about that. Boy, they don't want to show me today. Well, that's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing. The censors probably said, okay, no, there's certain limitations on StreamYard. We can't show, right? Netherlands, goeiedag. Great to say hi to our folks in Netherlands. We went to the Erasmus lab there. You may remember we outed gain of function, the real gain of function. We said it's not with Tyler. It's not with Travis. It's not with Jordan Walker. It's not on a bus. It's not on an LCD panel in New York with Jordan Walker. It's actually happening at the Erasmus lab. It's actually happening at Allchem in Alachua, Florida. Let's see. So many. Losing Charlie was just horrible. Yeah, and if you don't want to lose anymore, you got to get to the team. This is not lone gunman. This is team. And if you want to stop the future assassinations, you got to stop the team. That's what we're talking about here. Stop the team. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Hello from Athens. Well, F. Callisto, and I didn't learn much. It wasn't Pujalsta, but I learned how to, I think F. Callisto is thank you in Greek, I think I learned a few other things in Greek, but a lot of good memories in Greek, touring the islands in Greece and so forth. And we were doing a whole bunch of weapons research on Onassis and running weapons for Gladio. So that was a great research that we were doing in Greece. Let's see. A huge nation, Omerta. Don't get me started on Omerta. We did the Idaho 4, and we did the Omerta group out of Seattle. The Fetty brothers, the Fentanyl brothers up there, running drugs into Pullman, Washington, and Moscow, Idaho. Omerta, also the Sicilian Omerta. So we've covered the Hallowell plan. CIA drug running plan for Cuba after 1960, after late 50s, right? We covered Ermaya. She was the first recipient of the 7 for 17 charter programs. These are sustainable development goals, SDGs. The sustainable development goal, believe it or not, is gender equity. She got an award from the Utah diplomatic group, the UDG, which is the CIA front for this. This is the group that she started called Armed Queers. This is, we can assassinate anybody we want and say it's because we're trans, right? So now we're going to assassinate all these different people we don't like Charlie Kirk, and then we'll say it's trans. She also runs Pink Pistols. She's also in the Discord messages to Tyler. She's in these Discord messages to Tyler. We think they met in 2023 on the Capitol steps where I was yesterday. Hello from Norway, Bordengorde, right? I've never been to Norway, but I want to go. The fjords, they say, are wonderful. Let's see. How is Julian Assange doing? Well, he's not doing much. Part of his plea agreement is to be quiet, which I never would accept. They'd never be able to shut me up. I'd rather die. But anyway, Perth, a beautiful Perth. Oh my goodness, Perth is so beautiful. When I worked in Sun Australia, we had all these friends, and in Perth, there were all these South Africans that had left because they wanted them to fight in these wars in Rhodesia, and they said, no, I'm not going to get my kid killed, and I'm not going to die. So there's a huge South African contingent in Perth, and I love Perth. It's beautiful. Simultaneous sip, buy you a coffee in Iowa City. Well, it was in Ames. You saw me at the Athos Center in Ames. I loved, we were running down how a bunch of mangoes were coming into the United States from Pakistan, and Rahm Emanuel was there at the shipment. You know, why is Rahm Emanuel receiving all the shipments of all the mangoes at the Athos Center in Ames, Iowa? Does that sound like drugs to you? I don't know. It sounds like drugs to me. So let's do Wizard of Oz. Sorry, with all these great comments, I just got to go to them, and people sometimes don't like it. They want me to go to the Substack, but I haven't even written the Substack really. I've just got a lot of the pictures. Let me do that real quick. I'll just do a placeholder real quick, and go through the Substack. Here's where the location of the shooting was, right? Hope that you can see this. Yes, you can. Okay, here's the location of the shooting. Here's where the Canyon Road is. So he's a little bit to the north. We think he was meeting not Maxfield, but Lehigh is where this unique company is based, and all the foundations are based in Lehigh. Between Lehigh here and Vineyard, on the Vineyard stop, I rode this train line. I think I wore a hole in the train line. I think you got to replace the tracks. I was up and down these tracks so many times. We're going to get into this thing that he was potentially in, which is CAI, not CIA, at Utah State, and why he kind of goes off the radar for 2.5 years. Now, with Uncle Mikey, Broken Cossacks, Dead Cossacks Foundation, Radio Free Ukraine, he's got the Azov connections. He's obviously got a connection to the mercenary activity. We think he's in demolition. But there's other information coming forward with the CIA, with anticipatory intelligence. This is Minority Report. This is predictive crime. This is pre-crime. This is Palantir Gotham. It looks pretty bad. Here's the gal, Jenny Johnson. I think she was a Marine. Then she was in CIA. She started this program at Utah State, where he started about 3 years before. She was in the Balkans for CIA. Again, that's Zagreb and Paris. This is the Kosovo War with Karmadak, right? The great, our great doctor. I'm not a doctor. She is a doctor. She runs circles around Fauci. She runs circles around Bob Malone. She's the person to talk to, Karmadak on Twitter. But you can see here, they're combining topography, which is the study of the lay of the land, again, mountainous area for the Kosovo wars, right? And then they're adding in the GIS, and they're adding in things that show. For instance, Bill Binney used to say he could predict where the Russians were doing a training exercise versus a invasion based on the number of people visiting the houses of ill repute the night before, because these tank drivers were like, well, if this is my last night, I'm going to visit a house of ill repute. They didn't do that for exercises. So when it was a real deal, they visited the house of ill repute. When it wasn't a real deal. So this is the thing. COVID, the parking lots fill up with cars, and you can see that from satellites. These are the precursors. She also does pandemics. So there's a lot of pandemic in this predictive crime. as well, right? She was with the U.S. Marine Corps. You can see here, she's also one of these folks. I've done a lot of work with the Marine Corps, a lot of work with the very highest levels. I can't go into who, but I mean, Joint Chiefs of Staff level people that we've talked to. You can see her at the University of Reading. You probably remember me at the University of Reading, talking about the various places Christopher Steele was. It was all over the trains there, and Reading was one of the key places. She wrote this book about Marine counterinsurgency. Again, remember, the Marines are part of the Navy, right? Marines are part of the Navy, so that he could be in this Marine program that went to through Mikey. There's also Air Force for nuclear handling. So we don't know exactly. This is sort of like an interdisciplinary thing, and we don't have all the details of CAI, right? So we don't have all the details, but it is interesting. Mattis, I've interviewed many people who worked almost directly for Mattis, both in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Here's a video that went viral about CAI, about the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence. We have citizen journalists that spent a long time in Logan. There's all sorts of BSL-3 labs there. There's all sorts of animal testing, anthrax especially, anthrax testing there. So again, it has the Uncle Mikey footprints. So we're looking at all those Uncle Mikey footprints. Candace Owen is doing a great job putting together a timeline, right? And her people keep coming at me and saying, and see, I've always put this MJ Truth Ultra bug. I never have erased anything, given her full credit all along the way. I'm just saying that if you take their timeline, if you take their false narratives, then you end up going down sometimes the wrong track. What we try to do is do the real cited things, where we set up the citizen journalists and we get those stepping stones right with the true narrative, not the fake narratives. And I've seen this over and over again, where they put out the fake narratives, and then you got to go and do the hard work to do the Gary Webb Carpenter and nail everything down. You got to nail everything down to make sure that the fake narrative is rejected. But she has done this work. I do want to say Candace is doing some great stuff, and I want to give her full credit. Ian Carroll doing great stuff. I want to give him full credit. That's the source of this picture. I just put it in there to make sure everyone knew the source here. And then fast forward to Candace Owen again saying, hey, they're there at the house supposedly making the arrest at 9 o'clock. Oh, wait a minute. They're not making the arrest at 9 o'clock. There's a whole BBC. This reminds me right out of Gavin, what's his face, who was Karen Kingston's dad at BBC. I can't remember her name. I can't remember his name. Gavin name. But anyway, the BBC, well, Osama bin Laden did it. So they've got a whole story here about how he was arrested at his home, how Tyler was arrested at his home. But oh, wait a minute. I thought they went in with Deputy Sheriff Mike Robinson, no relation. Deputy Sheriff Mike Robinson to turn himself in at 7. Oh, wait a minute. The arrest actually was at 7, and he turned himself in at 9. So there's 2 hours where they could have manipulated the phone. There was 2 hours where they could have manipulated the phone, 2 hours where they could have manipulated the phone to do this Harlequin romance patchwork of text to cover the hole in the story, right? Not far away from where this Unique has their Chinese Cultural Center in Layton is Hill Air Force Base. So you see the F-22 there. You may remember I interviewed the general that flew F-22s 3 years ago when we went to Normandy, right? One great way to interview NATO generals is go to the Normandy celebrations and you talk to all the 2 stars and 3 stars. I talked to a 2-star that flew this plane, not this particular F-22, different F-22, I believe. And I think those are being mothballed. But here it is. Here's the Chinese Civic Center. We're really looking in now at the Chinese Civic Center. He said he flew 7 people up. We don't know if they're Chinese or not, but here it is. Here's the address in Layton. Here's the Monkey Works receipts. The plane leaves Provo at 6:54 and stays in the air over 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's only a 12-minute flight, 12 to 15-minute flight down to St. George, maybe 20 minutes, maybe. Right? So the plane's in the air for 2 hours. Is that flying everybody in the team home? Is that flying all the team members home and going and turning their transponder off? Where did that plane go? Where did N888KG go for those 2 hours? right? And why did they turn their transponder off? Again, that's not normal. That's not normal. Provo, again, no tower, right? At least, not that PVU, I don't think has a tower. And WSW, I don't know if that's the same airport or not, but no tower in St. George either, right? And we know they're going to Page, Arizona, which is very close. So that's right on the edge of the Navajo Indian Nation. That's right on the, money laundering, drug running, everything, gun running. And boy, the plane's going back and forth to Page, Arizona, right? So it doesn't look good. Go ahead and sue me. I can't even afford parking fee to go to court with you, but I'll love the discovery. Come at me, please, right? I don't have to worry like Monkey Works has to worry. I make $8 a month on Substack. You can follow me and support me on Substack for $8 a month. Ooh, I'm making so much money, right? But yet the trolls are out in force already this morning attacking me. 3M WSW Provo means 3 miles southwest of Provo, Utah, for both departure and arrival. Again, he's not moving toward St. George with the Charger, right? He's moving in the direction of Lehigh. He's moving in the direction of Unique, right? He's moving in the direction of N888, right? So we don't have all we want to do the data fencing, right? But this is Provo Municipal Airport or a nearby airfield or helipad. So we don't want to rule out a nearby airfield just because Bang Bang Maxfield Silver Hammer says they flew to PVU at 1 o'clock and left at 2 o'clock. This could be a different airfield, right? This could be a different airfield. Again, I've been up all night. I can't, this story's traveling so fast. But here it is. Here's that Hill Air Force Museum. There's that F-22. That's where I was interviewing the 2-star, right? I interviewed the 2-star overseas, but there's the F-22, I believe he flew, right? A lot of action here. There's not too far. Ogden is a little bit further here, and then a little bit Logan is a little bit more to the north. That's where the CAI Center is. So the CIA Center is in between all these universities. Very interesting. Again, if you have criminals that could perform crimes for you, like Chinese nationals, to do cyber hacking for you, and then you are the first, about it because you're flying them all around to all the airports and you're showing them all the airplanes you flew in the Air Force, about the pre-crime, so you're able to predict it. You're able to do anticipatory intelligence because you're the person flying all the criminals around. Right, that could be where we're going here with cybercrime and these Chinese nationals. Again, please sue me, please do. That's it. But we're looking at these strange connections of this plane, and we're not going to stop. So there you go. We're going to go down here. Thanks for reposting the stream. Here's the great Dave Underdown, the Cossack dance. Christopher Steele does the Cossack dance at his second wedding, right? Christopher Steele does the Ukraine Cossack dance. Christopher Steele knows it's going to be a war before the war starts. How does that happen? Because they're the same people that were trying to make up the story about Trump, Russia. Yeah. Christopher Steele's doing the Cossack dance at his wedding. I went to where he did his first wedding in Washington, D.C., right? I met with the journalist Michael, who broke the story for the Steele dossier, and he said he attended Christopher Steele's wedding there at the it's a little Irish house. I stayed there one night. Can't remember the name of the Irish pub. I was there with McDuff. We did a story there. All of a sudden, I'm forgetting the name of the Irish pub where they got married. But again, you want to talk about Azovs, you want to talk about Cossack dances, you don't have to go any further than Christopher Steele. Let's see. Charles had snipers. They followed Charles' tour and had snipers. Yeah. You see how little interest there is in Trump in overseas with the trooping of the color. What did they have? All the king's horses and all the king's men had 5,000 horses. Everybody was kind of like, can we get back to the Charlie story? This is bigger than Kennedy. 5,000 horses, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't get anybody's attention. Everyone wants to know this story. I'm in Dorset. I did go to Surrey. I went to the Surrey location. You probably know Horsley. I went to where Christopher Steele's horse is in Horsley. I talked to all the people doing currying and so forth for his horse. I went to Winchester, where his partner has Orbis as well. So I did every one of the Christopher Steele stops that you can imagine. But Dorset, I did not get to. So that's on my list now. Thank you. Let's see. I haven't even heard from Julian Assange. Well, he's kind of said, I don't want to die, right? You can work people over in prison so they'll almost agree to anything. And he doesn't want to go back. He wants to see his kids or his kid. Everyone hit the like button, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bring your face close to the camera and back again. I don't think anybody really wants to see my face. I'm not going to take that advice. I think it's better that you can see me kind of talking, right? I think it's better that you can see me kind of talking. Nobody wants to see my face. Let's see. Over 400. Come on, people, like the thing. I appreciate that. That's nice. Software needs to reshape your face again. Okay. No, I can't do that to people this early in the morning. That's just not right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to take your advice, and I'm going to turn the camera off for just a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. It didn't work. Here, I'll try to do the coffee cup and then reshape. No, it's not working. It doesn't matter. So people say, I should say Jesus and I should say the Lord, when I say 100% for the big guy. If I do, people say, oh, you're trying to apply for religious dollars and you're trying to invoke the Lord's name for grifting. So I don't. I just say 100% to the big guy. Did I hear correctly? He was in Ukraine. We believe Uncle Mikey got him a gig in Ukraine. We believe Uncle Mikey got him a gig in Ukraine. And that explains the hole in his resume. He's not wiring doorbells at Dixie Tech for 3 years as a 99 percentile AP math calculus guy. He's calculating explosive forces, right? We're looking at his demolition background. And let's go back. The good thing about me being so small over here on the side is it really doesn't matter much. It's really this stuff. This is what matters, right? Is this going to be another story of Vietnam where we're using military hardware, not this kind of military hardware, but we're using the C-130s and so forth to run the drugs, right? Is this going to be one of those stories with the Chinese? Is this going to be one of those stories? Look at all these steals. Everyone in this story is a steal. The people who see the arrest in St. George are steal. The people with the 800 West camera are steals. Everybody on the block is a steal. But anyway, it's like Christopher Steele, came over and set all this up at the Anticipatory Intelligence Center. But anyway, there it is. That's the CAE Center. She did write the Mattis book. She was a Marine, I do believe. So remember, they are a division of the Navy. The Commandant of the Marines. We did a couple of stories down there in San Diego with the Commandant of Marines. It is Utah State. It might explain his 3-year absence. And it is all about anticipatory intelligence. And it is all about this picture right now. And this is zooming. This is probably 600,000 views. Let me just check it really quick. See how many views this thing has since I reposted it. And I think people say, well, you gave Candace a credit and so forth. And Mike Adams came in and, he said, well, let's redirect this to Candace. And I think people saw me so much here in Utah and so much legwork and so much shoe leather and so much pounding the pavement that they they're following me on this one for some reason. I'm not trying to, steal the limelight or anything. Yeah, 600,000 views, and it's not even, it's 822 on the East Coast. I think it's a sort of payback for all the shoe leather I burned and all the money I spent going there. So, oh my love, where art thou? Yeah, you got these Harlequin texts that are just almost comical, and they say, my name is Tyler so-and-so. It's like Lee Harvey Oswald sending a message to David Ferry. Hi, this is Lee Harvey Oswald sending a message to you. Hi, Lee Harvey Oswald. This is David Ferry confirming you are Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, that's how the conversation starts out. It gets worse from there. Yeah, a 6'8" blood clot, a 6'8" hologram. Yeah. Well, I'm not really a hologram there. You can hear it. 99 Luftballons. People are making a mention about Adam Schiff and the 99 Chinese balloons and the surveillance balloons. 99 Luftballons. Nina, I think, was the person who sang the song 99 Luftballons, right? 99. I think it was in German. The channel, this channel is above all. I agree. We do great stuff. Thank you for reposting the stream. We're working for your respect and trust. May have missed the CIA reporter said the plane is military use is military used by certain civilians. Wow. They lost me with that. Okay. Yeah, they lost me with that supposed text messages. Yeah, I think a lot of people saw the your rapier like wit, and all this, and your manliness of the, it's right out of, some kind of Harlequin, his chestiness, heaved, and, she stilted herself with vapors, she like the bodice was ripped, and then the lovemaking ensued. I mean, it was just right out of a really cheap, tawdry paperback novel. It's just really bad. I don't know who. Did you see Armed Queers nuke their socials? Yes, they've removed all their socials. Armed Queers, again, Maya, right? Maya runs Armed Queers. They're basically assassins who can always blame their trans, right? We can kill anybody we want, and we can say it's because of trans, and we'll get money now. You'll send us money because of that, right? Andy Note doing some great work out there. Data Republican doing some great work on the Antifa organization. Trump's going after Antifa now. There's a connection. There's a Soros connection. There's this unique connection that we're going to show you to Armed Queers. Convenient that they're ghosts. Now you may be one. Don't get me started on how lucky I am to be out of Utah. Don't get me started on how lucky. Same thing when up in Idaho, right? With the Aryan Nation, Aryan Knights. Lucky to be alive, really. And I've got 2 dead partners, so I know it can happen. Military operation, not deep state. Many white hats. Reason to explore this. I agree with that. The State Department does fund Armed Queers, so there you go for gender equity. 114 thumbs up at 551 in the chat. Hit the like button. I got 4,000 total viewing, so we'll see. SkyWest, the biggest corporation. Yeah, SkyWest. Yeah, SkyWest in St. George. They don't have. Well, they do. They did redo the airport there. I take that back. And when I visited the first time, it was a small airport without a tower, I think. If I'm remembering correctly, everyone is going to have intense internet issues. I'm pissed that generation let them get away with it. Well, remember, we didn't even see the Zapruder film until 1977. I was down there at the Fort Wayne Embassy Theater with Mark Lane in 75 as a 15-year-old. Okay. So I did my part. You got evidence for anything you're saying? Nope. Well, yeah, other than the cameras, other than the people that go there and visit, yeah. Other than all the evidence, no, we don't have any evidence. These are comical. When they're not trying to kill you, they're making shit up. The the plane did take off. We're showing the actual, the tower. I mean, what do you want? Do you want me to reproduce the tower? I get, this is tower. There's no tower. There's no tower. They're flying in and out like Rudy Decker's at Huffman Aviation. So you want me to do the tower? It's, I don't know why people add these strange twists, but they do. So it is what it is. Much respect. Thank you. Altria. I don't know where that is. Everything LGBT will be scrubbed from the internet. Yeah, this is a license to kill. You just blame your transition. This isn't transitioning. This is deep state murdering people. Okay. He didn't come forward. He basically provided an excuse for the afternoon flight. No information at all about this 6:55 flight. No information at all. He left that out. Again, when you provide an alibi for something nobody's accusing you of, it's interesting. It's interesting, right? We'll always remember where you were doing and when it happened. Yeah, thank you. Fisk reminds me of the Rodney Fisk stories we had with, remember all the takings of the Cold War, the 20,000 missiles from Russia, the 20,000 warheads being dismantled, never getting to Piketon, Ohio. Another story we did. There should be 500 more likes. Go ahead and like then if you'd like. Washington County Sheriff planted seeds at the presser of Tyler being suicidally and was wearing the suicide vest. I think this is all a part of the drama. And again, remember, Washington County Deputy Sheriff is named Mike Robinson. We talked about Mike Robinson even before this happened, right? We talked about the rogue ATF group that was running drugs in St. George way before this. I'm not saying Mike Robinson's a part of that, but we talked about the rogue cops in St. George and the rogue sheriff in St. George. We won't go into all the details, but we've talked about this a long time. We talked to Jeff Prather. We've talked to Fast and Furious. These are Fast and Furious holdouts that are angry that their drug running isn't now state sponsored anymore. It's basically Utah Contra. This whole story is Utah Contra. There we go. No is the answer. So we have the answer now. GMA interview with children was super weird. I don't remember children being at the event. I thought everybody was college age or above. What about the texts and messages? They lack any lingo. I agree with that. Thank you for the compliment. Strategic inflection point. It's been underway for so long. I agree with that. Okay. Why like someone giving zero evidence? Well, yeah. Okay. Let's see how many crimes you solve with that attitude. CAI run by a CIA person, right? 3 years gone. Uncle Mikey going to Azov Brigade. He's broken Cossacks. You're trying to solve a crime, or you're trying to prevent them being caught? It sounds like you're trying to prevent them from being caught. Everyone said I made this up. Everyone said that it was AI. Everyone said that the Superman movie came out in July. And we proved that it has to be removed by the end of the month, but the last day of the showing is September the 18th. We went through all kinds of these things that this wasn't true evidence, right? This flies in the face of him fleeing to St. George, which was the narrative. This blew a hole in their narrative, right? So anytime that happens, there are these defenders. Again, I say they're British East India Company drug runners, and they've got a 300-year transition, a history of running drugs and then attacking people who are trying to call out their drug running. So, but we get this every time. As soon as we prove something, right, they come back later and say, well, the other thing isn't proven, right? Well, I don't have a Chinese cultural center at Layton. Do you? Right? We're just calling it out. How is Unique the fastest growing company in America when nobody knows them? Ask any woman if they've ever used Unique products. They'll tell you the same thing. It's the same thing with Amway, right? You can launder as much as you want through this multi-level marketing. It's CIA all the way, right? So when we see CIA, we see the CIA metadata, we're going to call it out. Sorry, you lose. Let's see. Lance, I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't there. Okay, good morning. Yes. Oh boy, I do have lied. Very disappointed in them all. Well, we'll call them out. That's the power of citizen journalism. One citizen journalist making $8 a month with a whole bunch of other citizen journalists around the world. We kick their ass on a daily basis, right? We provide sunshine. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. That's the name of the game. The sun is 1,000,000 times bigger than the earth. Anything that we come up with on the earth is going to be 1/1,000,000th. Even if it's the size of the earth, it's going to be 1/1,000,000th the size of the sun. We harness the sun. That's just that simple. Let's see. Yeah, if you watch MSN, you're going to rot. Can you explain why you think the timestamp is altered? Because I think it's supposedly 6:38, and man, you got to go straight to the airport from there. It's possible you could make it there in 15 minutes. If you hit the accelerator really quick, I think the reason why they might have leaked this out is to provide them an excuse for the 6:53 flight, that he couldn't have made that flight. Here he is having a burger, a Buster Bar at Dairy Queen at 6:38, and we left at 6:53, so we're okay. We didn't fly him, right? And that's why I think there's maybe they put so much effort into putting 6:38 out that I think it might have been a little bit earlier. And this is to try to say, oh, we have an alibi for the 6:53 flight. This is sort of a test to see if people will bite on it. Again, we've got 3 citizen journalists there. We're talking to the people. We're waiting for daylight, waiting for dawn, we're waiting for sunlight, waiting for the store to reopen so that we can get more testimony from the people. But it looks like maybe the slight alteration to provide an alibi for the 6:53 flight. Where's the video of the vehicle? Discord messages not on the servers. Yeah, where's the vehicle? We're going to data fence this, of course, but why wouldn't they want it? Why wouldn't Cash Patel be here? If Dan Bongino says this is the beginning of the beginning, well, if it's the beginning of the beginning of your investigation, why aren't you renting out the Losi Center and putting 1,000 agents on this, right? Why aren't you putting 1,000 agents on this? Now that we know it's a conspiracy, why aren't you putting 1,000 agents? Candace disclosed recently Charlie Kirk called her to convince her to say, stop Bridget. Ending the war in Ukraine. Yes, this is the reason why Charlie Kirk is killed, right? It's Azov killing Charlie Kirk, right? Because he's saying we shouldn't fund for weapons anymore. We shouldn't pay for it. You guys go ahead with the war, but we just want to cut funding on the weapons. So you guys go ahead and keep fighting the war if you want to keep fighting the war. But we're just going to cut the funding on the weapons. And that's what Charlie was pushing, right? And this is why Charlie was murdered, right? This entire thing stinks to the deep state. Yes, it's an Azov murder. Some people say it's the Jews and it's this and it's Bibi Netanyahu and it's the Gaza, and the Gaza roll up started immediately after this, the Gaza City. Okay, I don't censor those people. I let them say what they want to say. I say it's Azov. I say there's a Uncle Mikey connection to this that just can't be denied. I'm concerned about Sunday's funeral. I'm concerned about my funeral before Sunday. That's what I'm concerned about. Being in Utah, it's different making comments from a distance. It's different making comments from a distance. When you're all alone at night in the hotel and you're hearing the racking of the SKS and everything else that they're doing at 3 a.m. outside your door, it's different than being remotely commenting, right? It's different when you're walking up and down the streets and having these cars race by you and swerving at you and so forth. It's different, right? Being there is different. Thank you for kicking ass. Hi from Australia. Love listening to your logic. Good on ya. Good on you, Aussies. Good on you, bloody Aussies. Yeah, love. I spent 2 years in Australia, had a great time. Learned so much and I was able to do so many great things in Australia. I was able to be a part of so many great projects and companies, and it was a great time in Australia. CSIRO was a customer of ours. They're a CIA. Yahoo, the ultimate big guy, Yahweh. Yeah, was replaced 68,000 times or 6,800 times in the Bible. Well, there's a simultaneous sip 100% to the big guy. I've got a media appearance, believe it or not, at 6 a.m. So I wanted to get this out really quick. Charlie isn't legally dead. No autopsy means he's still alive. Interesting. Yes, shadow banning, 4,700 folks, and there's only a couple of likes, right? Try to beat the algorithm. Put in a like and see if your like shows up. Love that song, Master Jack by the Four Jacks and Jills. Don't know the song. I'll learn it. Master Jack. Why no autopsy? Did they get to the family? Don't know the answer to that question. Corey, no one's making you stay here. Yeah, Corey. Toodles, back to little Jeff Epstein's YouTube channel, where you came from. Let's see. Talk about George Zinn being arrested. We said he was White Rabbits are planned diversions. He was White Rabbit 1. The guy with the pellet gun was White Rabbit 2. This may be White Rabbit 3. This may be White Rabbit 3, right? Let's see how they button this up with a bow on top. Have they really? Have they really? As we seem to be knocking down the false narratives faster than they can prop them up. What's the movie sign behind him? It's Spider-Man. We had somebody go out there. They said they're going to remove it on the 8th. On the 18th, they have to remove it by the end of the month. They said they could only have it up for 3 months, according to the, I don't know if it's Universal that has Spider-Man, but we had somebody go out and ask, and they're going to remove it at the end of the month. Yesterday, he doesn't look like the Robinson guy. Well, this is the same thing. They put out the Crooks pictures, the baby pictures of Crooks, remember? The third grade pictures, and then we saw the buffed out Crooks walking through the Trump event. This is the same reason. They didn't want you geolocating him with pictures. This is the buffed out Tyler, but the picture they've been showing is that freshman picture of him getting the award. 4 years later, he's obviously a different person, right? He's buffed out now. He's more athletic. He's got the stronger build. Box for flight. And he's looking at the glow of the television to see if he's on TV here as well. It does look like he's getting the box lunch for N888. Even wearing the same shoes. I think they're different shoes. They tried to make it look like, because with the green Chuck Taylors, they tried to make it look like he was in this relationship because his girlfriend, quote unquote, basically Twigs has just been substituted for Ermaya. Right, Ermaya is being protected. She's an Iranian operative. Is that where they're getting the nuclear materials and nuclear science? You know, Ukraine wants to get the bomb back now that they gave away the bomb. Now they want it back, and now we get sending all these people back and forth from all these Utah schools, right, that are weapons experts. Interesting, all these tactical nuke experts coming and going like Uncle Mikey. So anyway, these shoes look different. But they took his freshman shoes and made sure that the picture with Twigs had those same green Chuck Taylors, right? And everybody's, oh, look at the shoes, look at the shoes. Well, the State Department can afford a pair of shoes if they want to insert somebody as a replacement to protect Ermaya, right? Is there DQ surveillance of him driving away? Well, I'm not there. I just left. And I hadn't slept. I had these huge circles on my eyes, and I just, people all hours of the night making all kinds of noise, and very strange noise outside my room. And quite frankly, I wasn't able to drive over when the story broke. We had 3 different citizen journalists. We're going to try to get the thing. He might have got picked up, right? He might have got picked up. So if you're trying to provide yourself a alibi, you know, he might have never, he could have walked. This could have been the DQ, rendezvous point. Hey, just walk from the college to the DQ. You're going to fit in just fine. Same glasses, same hat, same 5 o'clock Oswald shadow, same shirt, right? Same, you're going to fit right in. We'll just pick you up to the DQ, right? You get to the DQ, we'll fly you in, drop you off the DQ, because that's on my way home to Lehigh, right? Lehigh is where Unique is. And then I'll pick you back up there, right? You'll look like my son going to college, picking up the Buster Bar meal. Would you like, whatever, go to you've got your guy. You got your guy. You got little Jeff Epstein. Why don't you go be sycophantic for little Jeff Epstein? Why don't you go over to little Jeff Epstein's YouTube channel? JFK equals deep state. Okay, shoes don't look like Converse either. No, they changed the shoes. Let's see here. Whatever. Yeah, Karmadoc was in Kosovo. She's here. Karmadoc was in Kosovo with this at the same time. This gal that's running the CAI. She's CIA running the CAI. It's kind of like the CIA car dealership when I was doing the award spiring in Washington. They really don't. They need to get a new script writer. I mean, they really need to work on that. You can't say that here. Okay, I won't say it here. I'm sorry. He's died in Valhalla. Okay, all right. I'm a grandma. Watch out for the grandmothers. There's lots. They because they're looking out for their babies, and they're looking out for their babies' babies. And it's like the she-wolf thing. It's the mama bear thing. Watch out. People underestimate the grandmothers. I'm telling you, not a smart thing to do. You can't seem to say them enough. Okay, well, there you go. Conservative grandma here. See, there's watch out for Gen X. I'm a baby boomer, so I'm right at the tail end of the baby boom. So Gen X isn't me, but so true, so real, so true. Isn't there a Van Morrison song? Here, Dobre Jutro from Slovenia. We went and did Srebrenica. I still can't pronounce it. Simon worked with me. We went to all the NATO war nations, NATO war countries, Croatia. We went to Serbia. We went to Bosnia Herzegovina. We went to the River Drina. We interviewed Alexander Doran, who wrote the book about how 2/3 of the people in the graveyard at Srebrenica are Cyrillic names. So it looked like there was some kind of anthrax attack where both sides died. 1/3 of the graves face Mecca with Muslim names. The other 2/3 are Cyrillic names. No one knew that story. Simon turned me onto that story. Went to Belgrade, went to Vojvodina, went to Kosovo, went to all those places. You seemed they seem like they're taller souls. Yes, I think he's wearing a little bit of taller soles than the Chuck Taylors, which I used to wear Chuck Taylors all the time when I was a little kid. They didn't have much sole on them at all. But isn't that why we're teaming up with Van Morrison, right? So we can't get with false flags. Yes. Where are the photos of the car? Is there a car? Is there a car? They wouldn't put out the license plate. They wouldn't put out the make and model. They wouldn't put out the color. They wouldn't put out anything. Normally, APB, when you're trying to find somebody, you put out all those things, right? If you know he's done, we got a Dodge Challenger, the 800 West camera picks him up. Why aren't you putting that out? Right? Why are you helping the getaway of the John Wilkes Booth? Why are you keeping the bridge open, the Anacostia Bridge open, so he can get over the Potomac? Why? Right? Can we get with the program soon? Yes, we can. We can get with the program, and we'll put you on the slip and slide. You get to go on the slip and slide from Dundee, Michigan, is where we've had 55 different news gatherings called charrettes, 12, usually around a dozen people, around a dozen days, super intensive deep dives on these news stories. But as the gentleman just witnessed, we do have the slip and slide in Dundee, Michigan. Robinson looks like the guy in the stairwell. His mother ID'd him from the pictures. He doesn't really look like the guy in the stairwell at all. And his mother, this could all be set up, to have a kind of a dying fall, have wrongly accused. They've already got the $1.2 million. They said they're going to give it to the Kirk family, but they've already received the $1.2 million. It's a lot of money for a couple of days in jail. Right? I have heard of Unique. Okay. All right. That's fine. I'm not saying they have to have, they say they're the fastest growing company in America, and I've never heard of them. I've heard of Max Factor. I've heard of L'Oreal. I've heard of, these other folks that are in cosmetics like Mary Kay. I've heard of, I think even Amway is in Cosmetics. These are the big, multi-level marketing organizations. But it is what it is. Okay, there's photos of Robinson with his trans furry friend. No. Where's any evidence? You're talking about where's Corey now that you need him? Why are you screaming? There's no evidence. There's no evidence of this person ever being being with Twigs. Never, nothing, no evidence whatsoever. Just a made up phone texts that sound like a really bad Harlequin, cheap tawdry novel, right? Romance novel, right? There's no pictures. If he's willing to die for his love and kill Charlie Kirk for his trans love, wouldn't he have a couple of pictures with his trans love? Doesn't that make sense, right? How do we get the receipts? I got a couple more minutes before I got to get on Awake Nation News. How do we get receipts to you? GeorgeWebb.substack.com. Also, Real George Webb 1, and DM me on Twitter, and then I'll give you my phone number and I'll give you my email. Light pink. Remember Mary Kay had all the pink stuff? She drove the pink Cadillac. Remember? Mary Kay, right? Those are Avon. Those are the big names in multi-level marketing and makeup. Where's Unique? I've never heard of Unique. And you should hear this guy talk about it. He looks like first of all, he talks like a truck driver, and this guy talking, you would think the truck driver is a Cambridge, a debate scholar compared to this guy. He seems like he knows nothing at all about cosmetics, nothing, right? I mean, he looks like a hitman for Azov more than anything, right? This Maxfield guy. And he doesn't say, and then he goes, our triple thick lash is our hero product. I'm like, what? What? The triple thick lash is your hero product? Yeah, okay. What CIA excuse school did you go through to go? The triple thick lash product is our hero product. I just got this done beating the shit out of a couple of guys, in my 30 days, in the county jail. But our triple thick lash product is our hero product. Let's see. Can anyone verify anything he's saying? Can you verify show me your pictures, Corey. Show me your pictures. You've got everything. You got all the information. You're the one who has all the pictures of the trans girlfriend. Where are your pictures, Corey? Nowhere to be found. Absent without leave, Corey. You're absent without leave. You shouldn't be here. You should go back to little Jeff Epstein's YouTube channel. I'm from Queensland. Okay, great. Maxfield's a big Mormon name like Smith and Jones. Okay, fair enough. That's why they wrote the song, Bang Bang Maxfield Silver Hammer. What movie is it? I don't know the movie. I agree with Patty. Let's see. 753 in the chat. I've got 5,346 watching. And it's an early show. Let's see the video clip from the drone. Yeah, the drones could be there. Yeah, could be drones. Thanks, Randy, from tuning in from Florida. We're getting a little bit of sun here on the West Coast, so maybe I'll have sun here in a second. North Queensland, great hearing from North Queensland. Too many comments, not enough action. Got to go. All right. Well, you know what? Here's what we'll do for you. We'll make it easy. We'll put you down the slip and slide. Okay. So we bet on two flies crawling up on a wall. That's true. Yeah, you don't know. The thing is, you don't know where leads are going to come from. You don't know where leads are going to come from, right? So that's why we do the work, right? That's people say, why are you devote 3 hours to the live streams for the research sessions? Because I don't know where the next lead's going to come from. Do you? Right? If you do, then up in 9 minutes. Yes, I see. I got your message. Yeah. Let's see. Palantir didn't make the kill drones. No. That's, I think Raytheon was at the Raytheon guy was at Crooks. His car was the Raytheon rep for the counter sniper drone, was the last car next to Crooks's car. Was the Raytheon sniper drone guy. Maybe what killed him. Can we get 500 likes, please? Yes, please do. That Southern sass. Don't get me started on that Southern sass. My mother's from Birmingham, Alabama. Oh, the Gold Coast. Oh, my goodness. I went as far as, I can't remember how far I went up. Newcastle, I think. And I remember going to Newcastle. No, it was Kilgary. Was it Kilgary? Anyway, I was out in the bush. We were in this Range Rover and we were bouncing like this. And all these wallabies were following us, like 100 on either side of the thing. I think it was Kilbari. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Those are things. And riding on the train to Adelaide and having the red giant kangaroos almost as fast as the train running alongside of us. There's just certain things you just don't forget about Australia. And now I get my Australian accent because I had 11 guys on the team that they weren't from the Cambridge Debating Society. Let's just leave it at that. All righty. Okay. Morning. LOL. 30 minutes to the rifle. The guy laid the rifle on 30 minutes and he talked about trans people. Now he's suddenly a drone shot Charlie. Yeah. I'm not chasing these, the aliens and all these things. I'm not doing that. I'm just going with their narrative and then breaking their narrative. That's all I'm doing. How many were in the team? Well, we think there was 7 on the plane. There's 7 on the plane. So I don't know, 7 maybe. I don't think any more than 7. Where's the evidence of Tyler being in ROTC? Well, we already have it. I produced it from his high school, and his mother also, 8 years. His mother says he's in ROTC, an 8-year program with Uncle Mikey. So, I mean, other than his mother saying so, I don't know. What do you want? You want a father? They've hidden the father and mother now. They've hidden the girlfriend now, so you can't get to them, right? So, who remembers the California, the Scatterbots, TED Talks? Let's see. Good morning from the Georgia mountains. My great-grandfather was wounded in those Georgia mountains. He was wounded at the Battle of Stone Mountain, and then at the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain he fought, as well as Lookout Mountain. So let me tell you something. I have a lot of personal family history in those North Georgia mountains, and I've climbed Kennesaw Mountain and Stone Mountain. Let's see. We had several threats at Stone Mountain. Some people have the attention span of a gnat. Well, I give them the slip and slide. If they have to go, I say, you know what? Let me make it a fun exit. We'll give you the Dundee, Michigan slip and slide on the way out. So thank you for reposting the stream. And let's see, just saw a clip of you. Who do you deleted? Azov Brigade, no question in my mind. Let's see, ROTC guys who plays furry games. Yeah, this whole thing's a cover. This furry, trans, all that's a cover. It's all ROTC. It's all CAI. It's all CIA. It's all Azov. All the other stuff is bullshit. It's all bullshit. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Video of him laying on the roof. 5 minutes to go. Thank you. Northern Arizona, Page, Arizona is where the plane kept going back and forth to the Navajo Indian Reservation. They have Navajo Strong, right? Plus they got the Chinese group, right? Does that sound like fentanyl to you? I don't know. It sounds like fentanyl to me. The fastest growing corporation in America with the triple eyeliner lash, which is our hero product. Really? You sound like you just got out of a knife fight with a couple of Aryan Knights out of the back of a truck stop. You don't sound like the top executive of a mascara company. I'm sorry. Good morning, Evansville. Filmed him looking it up on the roof. So will Robinson be released if it's not him on the stairs? They are 1.2 million ahead. Right? That's a lot of money for a couple of days in jail. I guess Tyler's Superman. He can be in 2 places at once. I don't think so. Tyler had multiple clones changes and a rifle in the Mary Poppins bag. The team, who? Well, we said we need to find the evidence, right? It's evidence. All right. You have to start with the evidence. You have to start with the forensics. You got to start with the people that armed queers. Okay. You got to look at the Discord messages with armed queers. I think the team is armed queers. We talked about Ermaya. You start with Ermaya. You start with the Machine Gun Charlie. You start with Mujahideen Charlie. We identified Machine Gun Mujahideen Charlie. You start with those people on the team. Come on, people now. Cry on your brother, everybody. Remember that song? Get together. We gotta love one another right now. Come on, people now. They're saying, give me a like. Okay. I really don't ever look at the likes or look at the retweets or whatever. My idea is just push out the information as soon as possible. I got 3 minutes to go. Hello from Iceland. How do you know Tyler's ROTC? His mother said he was in an 8-year program. Uncle Mikey, and also I've got a witness in high school with ROTC, and we've got several people that I can't talk about because they're afraid of getting killed. Netherlands here, great to see you. Hui Duck. You won't find this military stuff in a military program. He was in some military program. We've talked about CAE. Go back, rewind it. I've got to go. I got to go do a.
Kofi, follow me.